As night falls, neon lights wrap around the high-rise buildings like ribbons. Jiangcheng, a city that never sleeps, is always lively like a never-tiring party. Ling Fei dragged her tired body out of the company building, holding a cup of cheap milk tea in her hand and still thinking about next month's rent. She is an ordinary office worker, 25 years old, and pretty. She likes to stay in her small apartment and watch TV dramas. She dreams of winning the lottery one day and getting a big house. The streets are crowded with people, and the aroma of roadside vendors shouting barbecue skewers fills your nostrils. Ling Fei lowered her head and scrolled through her phone. She didn't pay attention to her feet when a skinny stray dog suddenly jumped out and stood in front of her. Its hair was dirty, its eyes glowed with a strange green light, and its breathing was heavy, as if it was suppressing something. Ling Fei frowned and squatted down to touch it. "Oh, little guy, what's wrong with you? Are you hungry?" The dog ignored her, turned its head sharply, and stared at a young mother carrying a school bag not far away. The mother was holding the child's hand and said with a smile, "Baby, today Mom will buy you candied haws, okay?" Before she finished speaking, the dog suddenly jumped up and pounced on it like an arrow. It wasn't an ordinary bite. Its claws pulled out black shadows in the air, its fangs flashed with cold light, and it went straight to the mother's neck. "Be careful!" Ling Fei shouted instinctively, threw away the milk tea and rushed forward. Time seemed to slow down, her heartbeat was beating like a drum, and an inexplicable heat flashed through her mind, rising from her dantian and going straight to her limbs. The mother screamed, the child cried loudly, and the passers-by around him froze in place, some screamed, and some backed away. The dog's claws were about to tear open the mother's skin, but were blocked by an invisible force in midair. A flash of silver light flashed, and a tall and thin man sprang out from the crowd, holding a seemingly ordinary folding knife in his hand, but the blade was wrapped with a light blue halo. He slashed it with a knife, and the dog's head tilted, and it let out a low growl that didn't sound like an animal. Then it turned into a black mist and dissipated in the air, leaving only a pool of smelly liquid. The man turned around and pulled Ling Fei up. "Girl, are you okay? Leave quickly, it's not safe here." His voice was low, with a hint of Jiangcheng accent, and his eyes scanned the surroundings to make sure no one was paying attention. Ling Fei panted, her legs so weak that she couldn't stand. "Then, what is that?" "Dog, how could a dog?" The man helped her to the alley and lowered his voice. "It's not a dog, it's a monster. A low-level shadow dog disguised as a stray dog. They specialize in hunting humans with weak spiritual energy in the city. They have been seen frequently recently, so they must be doing something big." He called himself Boyu. He was in his early 30s, wearing a simple jacket, but he had an air of calmness and self-power. "Did you feel that moment just now? The spiritual power in your body is surging." Ling Fei touched her chest, and indeed, a warm current was still flowing in her meridians, as comfortable as drinking hot soup. She has heard her grandfather tell stories about cultivating immortals since she was a child, but she always regarded them as myths. Spiritual power? Monsters? Are you kidding me? This is Jiangcheng, not a costume drama. Boyu smiled and handed her a small jade pendant. "It's not a joke. The world of immortality is hidden under the city, and we are responsible for hunting these monsters. They spring out of the ancient cracks, disguise themselves as animals or objects, and suck human essence. The monster activity has been unusually frequent recently, maybe the nest is expanding. You have a talent in your body, and the strength just now is a sign of awakening. Join us, otherwise you will not be so lucky next time it targets you." Ling Fei took the jade pendant, her tentacles were cold, but a series of images flashed through her mind. The dog's eyes had green light hidden in them, and its claws were not in the shape of ordinary animals, but had barbs. She murmured, "Disguise. So the green light in the eyes is the key. It's not a real dog, it moves too fast, like a shadow moving." Boyu nodded, with approval flashing in his eyes. "Yes, the first tip. Identify the disguise of a monster. Look at the eyes, the shadow, and the aura. A real dog will not have the green light left by the spiritual energy. You are born with keenness, which is a good sign. Come on, try to use the spiritual power. He demonstrated, flipping his palm, and a ball of blue light condensed on his fingertips. Breathe in from the dantian, focus on your mind, and let it flow to the palms of your hands. Don't rush, take your time. Ling Fei took a deep breath and closed her eyes to imitate. She didn't feel anything at first, but soon, the warmth surged up again. Her palms were slightly warm, and a trace of silk wrapped around her fingers. Wow, it's true. She opened her eyes wide, excited and a little scared. Boyu patted her shoulder, it's just the basics. The preliminary combat skills, the first is defense, spiritual power to protect the body, just like I did when I blocked my claws. The second is attack, concentrate the spiritual power on one point, slash or explode. In actual combat, the weak point of the monster is at its core, usually the eyes or abdomen. Remember, you can't go to war in the city, and stealth is the best. The surroundings gradually returned to calm, and passers-by regarded it as an accident. The mother hugged the child and thanked her before leaving in a hurry. Boyu whispered, "Don't run around tonight, I will contact you." There is a spiritual stone bank in the world of immortality, which is dedicated to exchanging resources, but the water inside is deep. Monsters are frequent, and there must be something fishy behind it. Ling Fei nodded, her mind buzzing. When she returned to the rental house, she opened the door and found Irin sitting cross-legged on the sofa, chewing on takeaway chicken legs. Irin is her college roommate, with long hair shawl, always smiling, like a little son. Fei, are you back? Are you working overtime so late today? Come and eat a piece of chicken drumstick to satisfy your craving. Ling Fei sat slumped next to him and took a breath. Irin, you won't believe the monster I encountered today. Really, a monster pretending to be a dog almost bit people to death. I seem to have awakened some spiritual power. Irin's eyes widened and the drumstick fell to the ground. What? Monster? Fei, you don't have a fever, right? Wait, you said spiritual power. God, this sounds like those fairy tales. She jumped up, holding Ling Fei's hand, her face flushed with excitement. When I was young, I heard my grandfather say that there is a circle of cultivators under Jiang City. Lingshi is their currency, like spiritual energy crystals, which can be exchanged for elixirs and weapons. The Lingshi Bank is the core. It is said to be hidden in a high-rise building in the CBD. It is an ordinary bank on the surface. Lingshi is traded inside, and the price can be doubled on the black market. But I heard that there is a shady story, fake spiritual stones and so on. Ling Fei listened intently, still holding the jade pendant given by Boyu in her hand. Really? Why did the number of monsters suddenly increase? Boyu said it was the expansion of the nest, but something didn't feel right. Also, he taught me how to identify disguises, green eyes, black shadows. Irin, do you understand these? Irin blinked and came closer. My grandfather left a note, saying that there are always flaws in the disguise of low-level monsters. For example, the shadow of the shadow dog will be distorted and look like a living thing. As for the basics of spiritual stones, to put it simply, they are divided into upper, middle, and lower grades. The upper grades can directly improve the cultivation level. There are examination papers in the bank. If you pass, you can redeem the rewards, huge amount of spiritual stones. Fei, you have awakened, let's go for it together. Ling Fei smiled, and the warm current in her heart moved again. Yes, together. It feels like life has suddenly changed. She recalled Boyu's words, feeling faintly uneasy. Monsters are frequent, and the Lingshi Bank is involved. How many secrets are hidden under this city? Suddenly there was a knock on the door. Irin went to open it, and a girl walked in. She was delicate in appearance, wearing a fashionable windbreaker, and her eyes were as sharp as knives. Ling Fei. I heard that you met Shadow Dog tonight. I am Shirhan, also newly awakened. Boyu asked me to come and see you, don't hold me back. She said with a thorny tone, glanced at Ling Fei, and raised a smile at the corner of her mouth. The world of cultivating immortals is not a child's play. There are exams and hunts, and the competition is fierce. I hope you won't be too slow. Ling Fei was stunned and held the jade pendant tightly. Shirhan? Thanks, I will follow. Shirhan snorted, turned and left, leaving a faint smell of perfume. Iren closed the door and stuck out her tongue. Wow, these sisters are so fierce. Fei, I feel like I have a rival. It was late at night, and Ling Fei was lying on the bed, with the green eyes and the warm current of spiritual power echoing in her mind. Tomorrow, Boyu will pick her up and start the real hunting operation. She turned over and looked out the window. In the neon flashing, there seemed to be a black shadow flashing past. The morning light filtered through the gaps in the curtains of the rental house. Ling Fei rubbed her eyes and sat up. The flash of the black shadow from last night was still lingering in her mind. She took a deep breath and felt that the spiritual energy in her body was smoother than last night, like a stream flowing gently through her meridians. The doorbell rang, and Iren jumped up to open the door, shouting excitedly, Fei, Boyu is here. Today we officially go into battle. Boyu stood at the door, carrying an inconspicuous black backpack with bulging contents. He glanced at Ling Fei and nodded. It seems that you have had a good night's sleep and you are looking good. Let's go. First go to Lingshi Bank to exchange some basic resources. Iren, you are responsible for leading the way. Are there clues to the hidden entrance in your grandfather's notes? Iren nodded like a fool, grabbed her coat and rushed out. That's right. On the outside of the bank is the Huan Financial, in the CBD, and the underground floor is the Immortal Trading Area. Fei, you are a newbie now, and your level is still at level 0. Exchanging primary spiritual stones can help you solidify your spiritual power foundation. Go ahead, let me tell you the rules. The three people squeezed into the subway. Jiangqing's morning rush hour was overcrowded. Boyu explained the urban survival strategy in a low voice. Remember, the first one, keep a low profile. Monsters and immortal cultivators are hidden in the crowd, and spiritual power must not be exposed in public. Use your mind to restrain it when running, and don't let the halo leak out. Second, trace identification. The sewer is the smell they leave behind is like musty smell mixed with sulfur. But we can lock it with our spiritual power. Third, I will focus on teamwork, and I will be responsible for the logistics, and you, Ling Fei, will be responsible for observing the loopholes. Urban hunting is not like the wilderness, where the space is narrow and there are many dangers. If you are not careful, you will poke a hornet's nest. Ling Fei listened carefully and held the jade pendant tightly. Understood. The green eyes of the shadow dog last night still frighten me now when I think about it. Boyu, what is the goal this time? A low-level rat demon, disguised as a city rat, specializes in gnawing the remains of spiritual stones. There have been frequent movements in the sewers recently. The nest may be in the old city. Boyu lowered his voice, and his eyes scanned the carriages warily as the subway shook. Iren came closer to Ling Fei and comforted softly, don't be nervous, Fei. I know you didn't sleep well last night. It was my first time too, but with Boyu here, we will win for sure. After redeeming the spirit stone, you will feel like a chicken blood, and your spiritual power will be doubled. Remember, the primary spirit stone is low grade. When absorbing it, place it against the dantian with your palm and slowly melt it in. The bank has exam papers, simple monster knowledge questions, and you will be rewarded if you pass it, but novices should not touch it. When the subway arrived, the three of them got out of the crowd and turned into the high-rise CBD area. The Huan Financial Building is resplendent with glass curtain walls reflecting sunlight, like a modern fortress. Iren took the lead and walked into the lobby in a familiar manner, pretending to handle business, then slipped to the elevator and pressed a hidden jade button. The elevator door closed and as it descended, a faint spiritual smell filled the air. The lights on the underground floor are dim, the walls are covered with runes, and there are several immortal cultivators in suits sitting behind a row of counters. Iren stepped forward and handed out a token inherited from her grandfather. 3 of you have exchanged the primary spirit stones, newly awakened members. The man behind the counter glanced at Ling Fei and nodded. 0 level awakening, 3 low-grade spiritual stones per person, talent needs to be verified. He handed over a thin examination paper with only 5 multiple-choice questions. Shadow Dog's weakness? The rat demon's disguise is broken. What is the tax rate for spiritual stone exchange? Ling Fei's heartbeat quickened. Boyu's teachings from last night flashed through her mind, and she quickly filled out the form. Green eyes, distorted shadows, and a 10% commission from the bank. Passed. The man retracted the scroll and handed over 3 crystal spiritual stones, each about the size of an egg, with spiritual light flowing inside. After absorbing it, the level will be raised to the 1st level. Be careful of fake spiritual stones, they are flooding in the black market. Ling Fei took the spirit stone, her palms felt warm, and she couldn't wait to find a corner to sit cross-legged. Iren stood by and encouraged softly, take a deep breath, Fei. Imagine that the spiritual energy is like hot chocolate, melting into the body. If it hurts, grit your teeth, I am here. Boyu was alert to the surroundings. The spirit stone melted in the entrance, and a stream of pure energy rushed into the dantian. Ling Fei groaned, and her meridians felt like they were being stretched, but it soon became comfortable. When she opened her eyes, her vision was much clearer, and her spiritual power was moving like an arm. It's done. It feels like I have upgraded my game character and become more powerful. Boyu smiled. Yes, follow now. Intelligence shows that the rat demon is traced at the entrance of the sewer in the old city. Let's take the alley to avoid surveillance. The 3 of them moved to the old city. The dilapidated alleys were filled with garbage and the air was humid. Boyu took the lead in prying open a rusty manhole cover and crawled into the sewer. It was dark inside and the water was gurgling. The beautiful woman opened a luminous bracelet to light up the way forward. Grandpa mentioned this place. Monsters like to build their nests here because there is a lot of spiritual energy left. Fei, listen, there is a rustling sound in front of you. Ling Fei used her spiritual power and moved her ears, and she caught something unusual. It was not the sound of an ordinary mouse, but a low-frequency buzzing sound, like metal friction. She whispered, over there, in the corner. The shadow is moving, not a straight line. Boyu nodded, good eyesight. The weak point of the rat demon is at the root of its tail. If you bite off its core, it will explode. Prepare dash. Before he finished speaking, several spiritual lights suddenly lit up in front of him, and a group of figures rushed out, led by Shirhan. She was wearing a tight-fitting battle suit and her hair was tied up in a high bun. She was followed by 2 strong men, holding talismans in their hands. Boyu? We targeted this sewer first. The rat demon belongs to us. Ling Fei, you newbie, please don't join in the fun, so as not to be a drag. Boyu frowned. Shirhan, the hunting team cooperates and shares intelligence. Don't take credit, this is not an exam. Shirhan sneered and glanced at Ling Fei, sharing? Who doesn't know in Jiangqing's cultivating circle that credit is exchanged for spiritual stones, and whoever is faster will get it. There are spiritual stone residues on the rat demon, which are valuable. Our team has 3rd-level masters, what about you? Newcomers. The strong man behind her stepped forward, using his spiritual power to block the way. Iren was furious. Sister Shirhan, what are you talking about? We are also a serious team, and Brother Boyu is rich in experience. Conflict is about to break out, and the air in the sewers is stagnant. Ling Fei's heart sank, but her mind was racing. There was something strange about the water stains on the wall, like runes left deliberately, not natural dripping. She suddenly said, wait a minute, Shirhan, look at the traces in the corner. It's not a single route, it's like a maze. The rat demon is luring the enemy. Whoever rushes first may fall into the trap. Whoever cracks it will take the lead. Shirhan was stunned and looked closer. The water stains on the wall connected into lines, faintly forming a simple maze with a twisted rat shadow in the center. This is a low-level magic array. It's used by the rat demon to defend its lair. She gritted her teeth and tried to use her spiritual power to detect, but was stunned by the backlash. Ling Fei stepped forward, gently injected spiritual power into her fingertips, and traced along the lines, left turn, right fold, and break point in the middle. The identification skills she learned from the jade pendant last night came in handy, and she put them together like a puzzle in her mind. The flaw is here, the shadow points to the false road, and the real nest is on the side road. Follow me and don't touch it. Shirhan's eyes widened, and although she was unwilling to give in, she still got out of the way. You're lucky. I'll let you go this time, but I won't be soft on the exam papers next time. The team merged and moved forward along the side path. Boyu whispered to Ling Fei, "Be smart, this is the second lesson of urban survival, use your brain and don't fight hard. Shirhan is ambitious, but you are born to solve puzzles, and this is your strength." Iren held Ling Fei's hand and whispered, "Fei, you were so handsome just now. With you here, I'm not afraid anymore." The side passage is narrow and the smell is stronger. Suddenly, a group of black shadows jumped out, a dozen mouse-sized things with green eyes and tails whipping like whips. Shirhan's team made the first move, blasting a few of the talismans, but the rat demon was agile and spread out to surround them. "Split up!" Boyu shouted, killing two of them with one blow. Iren threw out spirit stone powder to create smoke cover. Shirhan and the strong man occupied the main road, while Ling Fei faced a lone, slightly larger mouse disguised as a fat mouse, clawing at her calf. Ling Fei's heart beat like a drum, this was her first independent hunting. She took a step back, using her spiritual power to protect herself from the claw attack. Boyu's teachings flashed back in her mind, the weak point of the tail. The rat demon squeaked, and its shadow stretched and twisted. She looked for an opening, concentrated her spiritual power on her palm, and shot it with one burst. Go! The wind from his palm was like an arrow, hitting the base of his tail. The rat demon screamed, its core exploded, and it turned into black mist and dissipated. Ling Fei gasped and bent down to check what was left, a small fragment of Lingshi, with a small, Huan, mark engraved on it, the emblem of Lingshi Bank. This. She picked up the fragments and handed them to Boyu. After the fighting around them ended, Shirhan wiped the sweat from his forehead and caught a glimpse of the fragments, remnants of the spirit stone. Why is there a bank mark? Did the rat demon steal it? Boyu's face was solemn, and he put away the fragments. It's not simple. Monsters don't touch the spirit stones unless someone feeds them. There is indeed something fishy about the bank's shady story. Ling Fei, you have made a contribution this time. Iren hugged Ling Fei and smiled broadly. Fei, you killed alone. I feel like you have become more confident, like a real hunter. What's next? The lair is still deep. Shirhan snorted and turned around, the credit is shared equally. But next time, I won't let you. She led the team away, leaving the three of them to continue their investigation. Deep in the sewer, the buzzing sound was even louder. Ling Fei clenched her fists, and her spiritual power surged through her body. She felt that she was no longer the cowering office worker, but a hunter embarking on an adventure. Boyu took the lead, followed closely by Iren. In the darkness, a pair of green eyes flashed faintly. In the darkness, those green eyes flickered, alluring and penetrating like a will-o'-the-wisp. Ling Fei's heartbeat had not yet calmed down. She followed Boyu's back closely, the spirit stone fragments in her hands feeling slightly hot in her palms. At the end of the side passage, a temporary rat demon's nest came into view, a hollow filled with garbage, with more spiritual stone residues scattered inside, and each piece had a faint inscription of Huan on it. Boyu squatted down to check, frowning, more than one or two pieces, this is a systematic loss. Monsters shouldn't have such things, unless there is a ghost in the bank. Iren wrinkled her nose and waved away the stench. Grandpa mentioned in his notes that spirit stones are the lifeblood of immortal cultivators. If they are lost, they will be traced. But rat demons eat scraps. They are not picky eaters. Maybe someone deliberately fed them to create chaos. She leaned closer to Ling Fei and whispered, Fei, you picked up this fragment. It feels like a clue prize. We have to dig deeper. There is a black market stall at the night market that specializes in spirit stone scraps. Maybe we can find out something. Boyu stood up and patted the dirt on his hands. Yes, there are many people in the night market tonight, and monsters like to hide among the vendors and disguise themselves. The rat monster's nest has been cleared, but this is not an easy matter. Evacuate first, change equipment, and act at night. Ling Fei, you performed well today, take a rest and don't show off. When the three climbed out of the manhole cover, it was already dark. The neon lights in the old town are on, and the Jiangqing night market is in full swing, with stalls lined up, and the smell of grilled skewers mixed with the sounds of sellers hitting your face. Ling Fei changed into a loose sweater and a baseball cap on her head, feeling like she had blended into the excitement. Iren held her arm and pointed excitedly to the roadside. Look, that shop selling candied haws on a stick. My grandfather brought me here when I was a child and said that the night market is a gray area between immortal cultivators and monsters. It's lively on the surface, but there's an undercurrent surging underneath. Boyu walked in front, pretending to buy mutton skewers, and whispered while chewing, spread out and keep an eye on suspicious stalls. When the monster is pretending to be a vendor, its eyes will have strange lights and its movements will be stiff. Spiritual stone transactions are mostly in the back alleys, so pay attention to the smell. The night market was crowded. Ling Fei and Iren squeezed into the crowd and pretended to go shopping. Iren suddenly pulled her to stop in front of a stall selling antiques. The stall owner was an old man with squinting eyes, and the table was filled with fake jade pendants. Fei, look at this piece of spiritual stone scraps, which is priced at 500. Why is there a bank watermark? Grandpa said that genuine products should not be leaked. She came closer and used her spiritual power to test it. Her face changed slightly. It's fake, but it smells like something from a rat demon's nest. Someone is washing goods in the night market. Ling Fei's heart moved, and she pieced together the clues in her mind. The bank lost the spiritual stone, the rat demon ate the leftovers, and the night market sold fake goods. This chain is so clever. She whispered, ask the stall owner, but don't reveal the secret. Iren nodded and pretended to be cute and asked, Uncle, where did this jade pendant come from? It's cheaper. It's the first time for my best friend and I to visit the night market. The old man chuckled and came closer. Little girl has sharp eyes, this is Huan leftover material, leaked from inside. 500 without bargaining, you will be lucky if you buy it. As soon as he finished speaking, his pupils flashed with a green light, and his smile was stiff. Ling Fei was alert, grabbed Iren's arm and backed away. Iren, something is wrong with this guy, the shadow is elongated on the wall. At this moment, the phone vibrated, and a strange message popped up. I am Haoshuan, from inside Lingshi Bank. I heard about the rat demon incident. Those fragments are from our missing batch. In Area B, the back alley of the night market, there was a suspicious transaction, and the seller was a monster in disguise. Don't make any noise, I'll provide you with information. The transaction code is Shadow Rat 13, and the spirit stones are flowing to the black market. Be careful with Shirhan, she is eyeing this clue. Ling Fei's eyes widened. Haoshuan. The internal allies Boyu mentioned. She quickly replied, why are you helping us? The message came back instantly. Bank corruption is not just a small matter, but monsters penetrate deeply. I owe Boyu a favor. Go to Area B quickly, I will take care of you in the dark. Iren came over to take a look, her eyes lit up. Wow, the traitor is betraying you. This information is valuable. Fei, let's go to the back alley, but we have to call Boyu. She sent a message to Boyu, and the three of them met behind a food stall on the edge of the night market. After reading the message, Boyu nodded. Hao Xuan is reliable, and his grandfather is a bank veteran. Let's go. Area B is a dense area selling barbecue, and monsters love the cover of smoke. The lights in the back alley were dim, barbecue smoke was filling the air, and a few vendors were shouting. Ling Fei and the other three sneaked in, and Hao Xuan's voice suddenly came from the darkness, low and depressed. Here, the guy pretending to sell grilled fish is the target. The fish he sells is actually wrapped in spirit stone residue and fed to low-level monsters. I took a screenshot of the transaction record to see. He handed over an encrypted jade slip, which showed a transfer. 500 low-grade spirit stones flowed out from the bank's internal account, and the payee was the anonymous night market doc. Irin took the jade slip, injected her spiritual power, and quickly scanned. The flow direction is around the sewers of the old city. It is consistent with the rat monster nest. Small-scale corruption, probably internal corruption, selling the residue for black money. The bank takes a 10% commission. Where did the money go? Upgrade the monster nest. Before he finished speaking, a figure flashed out. It was Shirhan. She was wearing low-key black clothes, with two followers behind her, holding a piece of paper that looked like an exam paper in their hands. Bo Yu, it's you again. Hao Xian, it's great for you to be a traitor. I'll keep an eye on this deal first, and the spirit stone belongs to my team. Ling Fei, novices, don't get involved, the test paper is the rule. You can't solve the question about the habits of monsters. She shook the paper, and there were several puzzles on it. The habits of disguised merchants and monsters. When did they transform? Where do the weaknesses lie? How to spot a deal? Shirhan sneered, the bank rewards are big. If you pass this set of questions, you can exchange them for mid-grade spiritual stones. Hunting. The risk is high, but the credit is low. My team has solved 3 problems, what about you? Get out of the way, this stall belongs to us. Ling Fei's heart was on fire, but her mind was racing. This was an opportunity. Solving the puzzle would not only prove herself, but also advance the investigation. She took a step forward and stared at the paper. Shirhan, competition is good, but monsters wait for no one. Let me try. The first question, the transformation is at the sub-hour. When the smoke is the thickest, the shadow will merge with the stall. The second, the weak point is under the fin, which is engraved with fake spirit stone patterns. The third, the detection depends on the smell of grilled fish mixed with sulfur. Ordinary people can't smell it. Shirhan was stunned and checked the paper. How do you know? This is an internal bank test paper, predicting the next exam. She gritted her teeth, but recognition flashed in her eyes. Humph, luck. Okay, you take the lead this time, but after the hunt, the credit will be 50%. Boyu patted Ling Fei on the shoulder. Wise, this indicates that the exam is not easy, and the knowledge of monsters is intertwined. Let's go. Before you start, I will tell you my story. He led everyone to hide in the smoke in the corner of the alley, and shared in a low voice. The first time I hunted was 5 years ago, in a similar scene at the night market. A fox demon pretended to be a fortune teller and captured my brother. I was so scared that my legs were weak and I was almost killed. But remember, fear is the enemy, and it turns into concentration. Ling Fei, take a deep breath and focus on your weaknesses. The team is here, you are not alone. Ling Fei nodded, warmth surging in her chest. The fear was still there, but Boyu's words were like an anchor, keeping her steady. The green-eyed vendor suddenly turned his head and noticed something strange. The black shadow behind the fish stall squirmed and turned into a half-human beast, a vendor in the upper body, a scaly tail in the lower body, and its claws clawed at the nearest Shirhan follower. Go! Boyu shouted, and the blue light slashed first, cutting off the monster's arm. Shirhan threw a spell, exploded the smoke, and the strong man blocked the flank. The lady sprinkled spirit stone powder to stick to the monster's footsteps. Fei, tail. There is a core under the fins. Ling Fei used her spiritual power and rushed forward. The monster roared and swept towards her with its tail. She dodged sideways, thinking, I can't retreat, my team trusts me. She looked at the lines under the fins and struck with her palm, break. The spiritual power penetrated like an arrow, the monster screamed, its core shattered, and turned into black mist. The remaining fish scattered turned out to be fakes wrapped in spirit stone residue, dozens of pieces, each piece clearly marked. The battle ended and everyone gasped. Hao Xuan walked out of the darkness and handed over more records. These are the bank bosses who embezzled money and sold them to monsters to expand their nests. But deep down, why do monsters want spirit stones? They don't cultivate immortality. Maybe the nest is underground in the bank, and it is linked to a bigger conspiracy. Shihan put away the paper and glanced at Ling Fei. You win this time. But I will surpass you in the exam. We'll see. She led the team away, leaving Suspense. Yiren hugged Ling Fei and smiled. Fei, you are amazing at solving puzzles. I feel like you are growing up very fast, from a novice to a core player. Boyu nodded. Yes, witty rescue. Hao Xuan, thank you for the information. Next, follow the flow, there is still movement deep in the night market. Ling Fei grasped the residue tightly, and her spiritual power became more stable in her body. She felt that her fear had faded away and was replaced by excitement. How many secrets were hidden in this city? At the end of the alley, a low whistle came, like more green eyes peeping. The low hum at the end of the alley came like a tide, and the green eyes flickered in the mist, like a ghost on the edge of the night market. Ling Fei clenched the remnants of the spirit stone in her hand, feeling warmth in her palms. Her heartbeat accelerated, but it was not fear, but the excitement after the battle. Boyu frowned, blue light flashed at his fingertips, and he swept into the darkness. Don't chase them, these are the scouts of the rat demon. There are more in the depths of the night market. Let's retreat first and take action tomorrow. The results tonight are big enough, and Hao Xuan's intelligence confirms the chain of clues. Yiren took Ling Fei's arm and said softly, Fei, don't be brave. You just solved the puzzle and Shihan was stunned. Go home and I'll make you a bowl of hot red date and white fungus soup to replenish your spiritual power. She blinked and tried to ease the atmosphere. Ling Fei smiled and nodded to follow. Shihan's team has disappeared into the crowd, but the phrase, we'll see, is still echoing in his ears. Hao Xian finally handed over a small note, registration for the exam ends tomorrow. There are traps in the paper. Contact me. The crowd dispersed, and the night wind in Jiangqing blew away the smoke, leaving behind the smell of burnt fish and the faint smell of sulfur all over the floor. Early the next morning, Ling Fei and Yiren squeezed into the Shouxian registration point in the old city. It was an inconspicuous old building with a sign, Huan Lingshi Bank branch, hanging on the door. There were not many people inside, but the atmosphere was tense, like a college entrance examination registration site. When Ling Fei filled out the form, her fingers trembled slightly. This was her first formal test after awakening her spiritual power. If she passed it, she could exchange it for mid-grade spiritual stones and improve her strength by 1 level. Yiren came over and encouraged her in a low voice, Fei, don't panic. You were so cool with that palm strike last night. The exam is just an exercise on paper. Remember what Grandpa taught you, there are techniques for exchanging spirit stones. The bank will charge a high commission, but the exam rewards are pure goods. Don't be fooled by fake marks. As soon as he finished speaking, a familiar sneer came. Shihan walked in from the side door, with 2 followers behind him holding thick notebooks. She caught a glimpse of Ling Fei and curled her lips. Hey, newbies are here to join in the fun. Can you collect the 50 lower-grade spirit stones for the registration fee? The exam paper is not as simple as a night market puzzle. There are hidden traps in the monster knowledge part. If you are not careful, you will fall into the trap. You were lucky last night. Our team has previewed the entire set this time, and we are guaranteed to crush it. Ling Fei's heart sank, but she raised her head and looked directly at Shihan. Shihan, competition is competition, don't talk nonsense. Didn't you also borrow all the habit questions I solved last night? The exam is about strength, not about who has a bad mouth. She handed over the spirit stone fragments as the registration fee, and the staff scanned them and nodded. If you pass, the exam will start at noon tomorrow. Remember, the paper involves the disguise of mid-level monsters and spirit stone trading strategies. 5 points will be deducted for any wrong question. After the registration was over, everyone walked out of the building. The sun was shining on the streets of Jiangcheng, and the soy milk from the roadside breakfast stall was fragrant. Yiren pulled Ling Fei to sit on a bench by the roadside and took out from her bag the copy of the sample paper that Shihan passed by last night. It was secretly sent by Haoshuan. Fei, let's study now. I think the trap Shihan mentioned is a false option hidden in the question about monster habits. Look at this. When the intermediate rat monster hides in the abandoned factory, what is its weak point? A. The core of the tail. B. The glands behind the ears. C. The pattern of the claws. D. The residue of camouflage. Ling Fei frowned, replaying the night market battle in her mind. The core of the rat demon is in its tail, but the residue is the bait. B, right? Grandpa's notes said that the glands secrete odor, destroying it to paralyze its disguise. Yiren shook his head and pointed with a smile. Wrong. This is a trap. Bank papers like to have double layers. The glands are low level. The mid-level rat demon has evolved, and the weakness has been moved to the claws, but it is only exposed when stimulated by the spirit stone. What about exchange skills? Correct answers can get extra points. The spirit stone bank stipulates that the purity of medium-grade goods needs to be verified. Wrong choices will lead you to buy fakes, the black market kind. Ling Fei's eyes lit up. She took the notes and scribbled quickly. So that's it. Shihan's team previewed the whole set, and probably ignored this level. Let's look at another question. How do monsters use spirit stones to upgrade their lairs? This is not simple. Last night Haoshuan said that monsters don't cultivate immortality. Why do they need spirit stones? She thought while writing, and her inner monologue flashed. I can't lose. This exam is a springboard to prove that I am not a novice. Yiren came closer and patted her shoulder gently. Fei, just say it when you are under pressure. I remember when we were kids, before we took exams, I would always tell you jokes to relieve your boredom. I am familiar with converting spiritual stones. After passing the customs, I will teach you how to avoid taxes. I can save 20% of the bank's commission. While we were chatting, Boyu called. The location is shared. Come to the abandoned factory area. Haoshuan has just sent the information. The intermediate rat demon nest is there. This is where the scouts came from last night. Team operation, Ling Fei, you come to test your combat skills. Ling Fei's heart beat faster. After hanging up, she said to Yiren, let's go, I have to practice the paper before the actual battle. Shihan's provocation is nothing, prove it to her. The abandoned factory is located on the outskirts of Jiangcheng. The rusty walls are covered with wild vines, and the air is filled with the smell of rust and mold. Boyu has arrived, and Shihan's team is also there, a temporary alliance, for hunting rewards. Hao Xian hid in the shadow of a tree in the distance and sent a message. High-level officials are involved. Someone at the bank headquarters sells spiritual stones to monsters in exchange for nest protection fees. There is a passage under the factory that leads directly to the bank's logistics. Be careful, the mid-level rat monsters will attack in groups. Boyu divided into groups and gave guidance in a low voice. Ling Fei, you and Yiren will attack the flanks. Remember the actual combat strategy. When the monster is disguised, break the aura first, and then lock the weak point. Your spiritual power is at the first level, don't fight hard, use palm strikes in combos. When fear comes, just like last night at the night market, you have proven yourself. He patted Ling Fei on the shoulder, with a firm look in his eyes. The team is here, I will protect you. Shihan snorted. Bo you are biased. The novice takes the lead. Okay, don't blame me if you fail. But she still threw an auxiliary talisman to Ling Fei. Use it, don't hold back. Ling Fei nodded, clenched her fists, and her spiritual power flowed through her meridians as smoothly as river water. She took a deep breath and sneaked into the side door of the factory with her lover. It was dark and damp inside, with machine debris piled up, and more spirit stone residue scattered on the ground, with the Huan watermark engraved on each piece. Suddenly, green eyes lit up, and 3 mid-level rat demons sprang out. They were like dogs, with human-like upper bodies, sharp claws, and the sound of wind as they swung their tails. They are disguised as workers, but their movements are stiff and the smell of sulfur is overwhelming. Go! Boyu's blue light slashed to clear the way, and Shirhan's spell exploded a path forward. Iren sprinkled spirit stone powder on the second foot and said, Fei, I'll leave this one to you. The claws are weak, so the spirit stone stimulates it. The rat demon roared, pounced on Ling Fei, and grabbed it with its claws. She dodged sideways, and the paper trap flashed in her mind. You can't hit the gland directly, it's a bait. With her spiritual power running, she fully displayed her combat skill, spiritual shadow palm. For the first time, her palms were superimposed, and her spiritual power condensed into a shadow blade, aiming at the claw lines. Broken! Ling Fei shouted. The wind in her palm was like a knife, hitting her claws. The rat demon screamed, and the lines cracked, revealing the core of the spiritual stone inside, and green blood splattered. It counterattacked and swept its tail. Ling Fei rolled to avoid it, thinking, hold on, this is my battle. Iren shouted, Fei, work harder. I remembered what Grandpa said, the spirit stone is a bridge, you break it. Ling Fei nodded, and the second palm strike was harder. The shadow blade penetrated into the core, the rat demonized into black mist, and the residue was scattered on the ground. The battle ended and everyone took a breath. Boyu nodded. Ling Fei, good job. You are on your own in combat skills for the first time. From a novice to this step, you have made a leap. Iren hugged her and smiled, awesome. The pressure is gone, right? This mid-level monster has high purity of spirit stones in its claws, and can be exchanged for 500 low-grade ones. Shirhan glanced at it and said with a rare lack of sourness, humph, not bad. But the exam is still here. How many paper traps have you solved? Ling Fei wiped her sweat and took out the papers she had studied from her arms. There are more than a few. In the monster knowledge section, the bank has set up layers of fake options. For example, when the rat monster upgrades its lair, it does not simply absorb spirit stones, but uses the residue to build an array to attract more monsters. The trap is in option D, disguised as a harmless transaction, but actually connected to the bank's top executives. This indicates a bigger conspiracy, and the infiltration of monsters is not just a small corruption. Hao Xuan walked out of the darkness with a solemn expression, the enemy. I intercepted the high-level communications. They used spiritual stones to feed the lair in exchange for monsters to protect the underground warehouse of the bank. The passage from the factory leads directly to the headquarters. In the exam tomorrow, the paper will test this point. If you answer wrong, you will expose yourself. He handed over a jade slip, encrypted information, here for you. Shirhan, don't keep it to yourself, this is a team matter. Shirhan bit her lip and put away the charm. Okay, let's join forces. But Ling Fei, you grow up fast and you will see the real results in the exam. Boyu looked deep into the factory, and there was a faint green light at the entrance of the passage. Withdraw, the lair is clear, but the conspiracy has just begun. Ling Fei, take a rest and review the papers at night. Iren, teach her the exchange skills. Iren pulled Ling Fei out and said softly, Fei, that palm strike you just made was like an urban heroine. When the pressure comes, remember me, we can survive everything together. Ling Fei smiled, and her spiritual power was flowing steadily in her body. She felt that she had changed, and was no longer the cowering novice. Outside the factory, the setting sun stretches its shadow, and there are many tall buildings in Jiangqing in the distance, and there seem to be more hidden green eyes. The afterglow of the setting sun shone on the barbed wire fence of the abandoned factory, casting long shadows. When Ling Fei followed Iren out of the door, her steps were still a little vague. The battle just now consumed most of her spiritual energy, but the warm current in her body became more stable, like a late-night snack stall on the streets of Jiangcheng. It was hot and soothed her fatigue. She glanced at the tall buildings in the distance, the phantom of green eyes still wandering in her mind, and thought, there are more things hidden under this city than Grandpa's old notes. You can't carry it alone, you have to trust them. Fei, why don't you go back to the dormitory to review the papers tonight? Boyu is right, the exam will be at noon tomorrow. Iren held her arm, her voice was soft, as friendly as sharing snacks when she was a child. Ling Fei nodded, but suddenly stopped and took out the jade slip given by Hao Xian. Wait a minute, this information mentioned the underground passage of the bank. The factory has been cleared, but the smuggling clues have not been broken. Hao Xian said that the higher-ups sold spiritual stones to monsters. If we don't dig up the roots, passing the exam will be in vain. Iren frowned and her eyes lit up. You want to sneak into the bank branch? That place is heavily guarded, and spiritual scanners are flying all over the place. Shihan's team is probably watching too. The look in her eyes just now clearly hides Xiao Jojo. Just as he said that, Boyu caught up from behind, and Hao Xian also emerged from the shadow of the tree. The four of them came to a dilapidated shared bicycle on the roadside and discussed in low voices. Boyu rubbed his temples. Hao Xuan, you are an insider. There are transaction files in the branch's logistics warehouse, which are encrypted and record the flow of spirit stones. If the smuggling of monster beasts is confirmed, the false questions in the exam can be overturned. Ling Fei, you have first-level spiritual power. Don't be brave when you infiltrate, and follow the lady closely. Ling Fei's heart tightened. She solved mysteries alone at the night market last night. She was used to working alone, but now that the team is together, she took a deep breath. Boyu, I believe in you. If the smuggling clues can't be cut off, the monster will come back. Iren, you have a great knowledge of spiritual stones. It's up to you to analyze the file. Hao Xuan nodded and took out 2 camouflage badges from his pocket. Meet you at the back door of the branch at 10 o'clock tonight. I will open the internal passage, but there is movement over there. Her team is wandering around, maybe trying to get ahead. As night falls, the lights in Jiangcheng are brightly lit. The Lingshi Bank branch is hidden in a glass curtain wall building in the old city. On the surface, it looks like an ordinary financial center. The security guard at the door scans for spiritual fluctuations. Ling Fei put on the low-key suit given by Hao Xuan, her heart beat like a drum, and her inner monologue flashed, trust them, don't panic. This is not a one-on-one battle at the night market, it is a team effort. Iren squeezed her hand gently. Fei, remember the night run in the community? Come step by step. Boyu and Hao Xuan were exploring the way ahead. Shihan's team was nowhere to be seen, and the four of them sneaked in along the fire escape in the back alley. In the basement of the branch, the air is cool and mixed with the mineral smell of spiritual stones. Hao Xuan swiped the card to open the door. The light in the passage was dim. He whispered, the archives are at the end. The server is encrypted. It will take me 5 minutes to hack in. You guys guard the door. Ling Fei and Iren stood against the wall, Boyu's blue light protecting their bodies, scanning the surroundings. Suddenly, footsteps came from around the corner. Shihan. She led 2 followers, with the charm in hand, and a sneer appeared. Hey, Ling Fei, a newbie also comes to the bank? Hao Xuan, it's great for you to be a mole. The file is mine, I will expose the exam conspiracy first. Shihan, are you setting an ambush? Ling Fei's spiritual power circulated and she clenched her fists. Shihan snorted and threw out 3 spiritual traps. A blue light web appeared on the wall, as sticky as spider silk, blocking the escape route. Of course, Boyu Alliance. A joke. My team has previewed the layout of the bank. This network is an intermediate talisman formation, which absorbs spiritual power when touched. Give me the file, otherwise you will all be killed. The follower pounced on him, with his fists bringing spiritual power. Boyu's blue light cut one person open, but the light network approached, and the lady sprinkled spiritual stone powder to test, but was bounced back. A chase broke out, and the four of them fought and retreated. The passage was narrow, and the Shirhan spell exploded into smoke. Ling Fei coughed and dodged, struggling in her heart. It was too risky to rush alone, and she had to trust her partners. The paper trap flashed in her mind, the bank talisman formation loves double layers. She shouted, "Iran, spiritual stone powder mixed with smoke. Boyu, protect Haoshuan." Iran understood, the powder was sprinkled into the smoke and stuck to the edge of the light network. Boyu slashed the gap, and Haoshuan took the opportunity to hack into the server. Shirhan said angrily, "Little trick." She added a trap, the light network shrank, sucking away a trace of Ling Fei's spiritual power. Ling Fei gritted her teeth, determination rising in her heart. She couldn't let them down. She recalled her grandfather's notes. The weakness of the talisman array was at the core node, the blue crystal in the center of the light network. "Haoshuan, how many times will the server light flash?" Haoshuan shouted, 3 times. Ling Fei calculated the timer, and her spiritual shadow palms were running. The shadow blades of her 2 palms did not hit the net directly, but were thrown towards Shirhan's feet, stirring up dust to confuse her vision. Taking advantage of the chaos, she rolled closer and hit Lan Jing with a palm strike, broken. The light network shattered, fragments rained down, and Shirhan's followers screamed and retreated. "Impossible. How do you know the weakness?" Shirhan glared and counterattacked with the spell, but Boyu had already protected the team and the blue light forced her back. "Ling Fei is smart, Shirhan, you lose. Let's join forces, this conspiracy is bigger than you and me." Shirhan bit her lip and stopped. You win this time. But I'll see you in the exam." She led the people to retreat, and the passage returned to silence. After Haoshuan downloaded the file, he handed the jade slip to the lady. "All the clues to the smuggling are in it." The senior management sold the medium-grade spiritual stones to the monster lair in exchange for protection money. The exam paper was manipulated, and there were false options in the questions about monster habits to guide people to ignore the smuggling. Everyone slipped out of the bank, and the night wind blew. Ling Fei gasped and leaned against the wall. Iran immediately analyzed the jade slip. "Fei, look at this record. The rat demon's lair used spiritual stones to build an array, and the bank's senior executive signed the order, pretending to be a normal exchange." The standard answer to the exam question, how monsters upgrade their lairs, is absorption, but the truth is that they smuggled to build an array. The paper has been changed, and those who answered wrongly will be targeted, thinking they are novices, and are actually exposed to the monsters. The shady story is deep, and someone is controlling it at the headquarters. Tomorrow's exam is the key. Ling Fei's heart sank, and a sense of trust flowed like spiritual power. "With them here, I am not alone." She nodded. "Thank you, Iran. Boyu, please teach me how to advance in combat. You can't just rely on palm strikes, you have to deal with group attacks." Boyu smiled and led the team to a nearby park. Under the moonlight, he gave instructions. First level advancement, fuse the spirit stone. Hold the residue, run the meridians, and try the shadow combo, the heel of the palm and the leg, locking the beast's breath. Ling Fei did as she was told. The warmth of the spirit stone entered her body, and the shadow blade connected with the leg wind, hitting the imaginary target with smooth movements. Her inner monologue, "Growth is not about going it alone, it's about leveraging others." While he was practicing, Haoshuan's cell phone rang. "Emergency." Outside the branch, the driver of a taxi was disguised as a monster, a mid-level wolf monster, carrying smuggled spiritual stones. "The location is shared, intercept quickly." The team got in the car, and Boyu opened the way and rushed to the Riverside Road. The taxi was running wildly in the night, the driver's figure was twisted, green eyes flashed out of the rear-view mirror, his claws were on the steering wheel, and sulfur exhaust was trailing from the rear of the car. "Chase!" Ling Fei leaned out from the passenger seat and threw out her spiritual shadow palm, hitting the rear of the car. The wolf demon roared and the car swayed. It disguised itself as a fat driver and shouted, "Human, the spirit stone is mine." It accelerated and hit. Boyu's blue light shield blocked it, and Iren sprinkled powder on the tires. "Fei, get on." The weak point is behind the ears, but after advanced, it moves to the shoulder blades. The spirit stone stimulates. "Shirhan." She actually caught up from the side, with the help of a spell. "This time we join forces, the monsters are in stock." The chase was fierce, the highway lights were flashing, and the wolf monster flicked its tail to attack. Ling Fei jumped on the roof of the car, her heart beating like thunder. "Trust them, hold on tight." She moved her shadow in a combo, kicked her tail away with her legs, locked her shoulder blades with her palm blades and breathed, "Broken." The core of the spirit stone was exposed, and green blood spurted out. Boyu slashed and broke the wheel, causing the car to overturn. The wolf demon appeared, a wolf with a human body and claws clawing at him. Iren shouted, "Fei, there is a key spirit stone in the core, top quality." Ling Fei dodged and penetrated with a series of blows. The monster turned into mist, and bags of spirit stones were scattered in the carriage, marked, "Huan smuggling." The team gasped and harvested, and Shirhan handed over the auxiliary charm. "Yes, Ling Fei. You have grown up." Boyu nodded. "This spirit stone is a solid evidence." It was sent to the registration point before the exam. But the whole conspiracy has not been revealed yet, and the headquarters is in deep water. Iren picked up the bag and smiled. "Fei, we won this round. Go home and cook supper to celebrate." Ling Fei smiled, full of spiritual power. She looked at the night sky of Jiangcheng, her green eyes hid more, and she was more determined. "The team is here, the exam conspiracy, I will break it." The Jiangcheng Examination Center is hidden in the basement of a high-rise building in the CBD. Outside, there are financial elites in suits and ties, but inside, there is a cultivation examination room with faint spiritual power fluctuations. When Ling Fei woke up early in the morning, her mind was still filled with the smell of last night's late-night snack, the hot rice porridge cooked by Iren, which, coupled with the laughter of the team, made her feel that the city was not so cold. Boyu drove her to the door and patted her on the shoulder. "Fei, there are many traps in the paper, remember last night's file, don't worry. Iren and I are watching outside, Haoshuan will send reminders." Iren poked her head from the back seat and handed over a small jade pendant. "Put it on, invisible communication." "Fei, hold on, you are now proficient in shadow combos, and your intelligence is even better." Ling Fei nodded, took a deep breath, and opened the door to the examination room. The lights inside are bright, like a university study room. There are hundreds of candidates sitting full of them. In front of each person, a light screen displays the test paper interface. The air was filled with the faint smell of spiritual stone powder, and the anti-cheating formation buzzed. She found a seat in the middle and sat down. She glanced around and saw that Shirhan was already in the corner with a "come on" sneer on her lips. The examiner is an old man with a white beard, and his voice spreads through the spiritual voice. The urban immortal cultivation examination has officially begun. The first-level promotion paper has 3 parts: knowledge of monsters and beasts, practical combat strategies, and spiritual power simulation. The time is 2 hours. Spiritual power points will be deducted for wrong answers, and cheaters will be disqualified. The paper flashed, Ling Fei tapped her finger, and the first part of the monster knowledge questions popped up. How to upgrade the rat demon lair. A. Natural absorption of moonlight. B. Assisted by spirit stone formation. C. Bloodline fusion. D. Environmental camouflage. Her heart tightened. Wasn't this the smuggling clue in the file last night? The standard answer is A. But since bank executives sold spiritual stones to build an array, B is the truth. Shirhan's voice suddenly came from the side, in Lingyin private chat mode, and she openly challenged, "Ling Fei, do you dare to come here as a newbie? I choose a for this question, what about you? It will be embarrassing if you are wrong, and the bank's reward stone will fly away." The candidates whispered, and the atmosphere in the examination room suddenly became tense, like when they were jockeying for a seat in front of a night market stall. Ling Fei didn't raise her head, and raised the corner of her mouth slightly. "Shirhan, the test is not about louder than anyone else. That wolf monster last night, your auxiliary talisman is good, but what about your intelligence?" She quickly clicked B with her finger, the system buzzed, and a green light flashed. "Correct." An inner monologue flashed through, "Don't panic when writing files. This is evidence from the team, not guesswork." Shirhan snorted, and Ling Yin came again, "You're clever. You'll reveal your secrets when you wait for the actual combat part. My team has previewed that the strategy questions hide the bank's shady secrets, and you can't break it. The second part of the actual combat strategy is full of difficulty." The paper projected a map of Jiangcheng, marking the surrounding areas of abandoned factories and bank branches, simulating monster attacks, lair hiding spots. Choose the best hunting path, and explain the formation method to crack. Ling Fei stared at the map, and the jade slip from last night flashed in her mind. The rat demon's lair was in the sewers of the old city, and the invisible formation built by spiritual stone smuggling corresponded to the southeast corner of the map. She circulated her spiritual power, injected it into the screen, and drew a path, cut through the back alley of the bank, avoid the scanner, and hit the sewer entrance directly. She typed in the explanation column, "The lair formation relies on the core of the middle-grade spiritual stone, and its weakness is at the gathering point. To crack it, it requires shadow combos to lock the breath, and fuse the spiritual stone powder to confuse the fluctuations." System analysis. The green light is bright, correct. But a hidden prompt suddenly popped up in the paper, like Haoshuan's hidden line, high-level collusion, lair coordinates, southeast sewer area B. Lingshi transaction records exposed, headquarters elders involved in the case. Ling Fei's eyes lit up, this was Haoshuan. Outside the field, Boyu and Iran were in the monitoring room. Iran whispered, "Fei has passed the second level, Haoshuan's prompt is stable." Boyu nodded, "Okay, the core of the conspiracy has been revealed. The top management sold spiritual stones to monsters, and the exam papers manipulated the answers to guide the novices to ignore smuggling and become cannon fodder." In the middle of the exam, the spiritual simulation session started. A magic array floated in the center of the examination room, and the spiritual energy of all the candidates was injected, simulating a battle scene. A group of rat demons burst out from the map projection, their green eyes flashed, and they ran through the streets disguised as rats. Ling Fei's phantom jumped in, rotating the shadow in a combo, and swept away the three little monsters with the wind from her legs. But suddenly, a talisman's light net struck from the side and headed straight towards her shadow. Shirhan interfered. Her spiritual power projection broke in, and the talisman array spread out. "Ling Fei, maybe the examination room is fair. Try my mid-level net to suck your spiritual power." The candidates exclaimed, and the examiner frowned but did not stop. The rules allow simulated confrontation. "Shirhan, are you playing dirty tricks?" Ling Fei's spiritual power sank, the shadow dodged, and the light net passed by, sucking away a trace of warmth. Her heartbeat was racing, she couldn't fight head-on, she had to solve the mystery. "I recall the bank talisman array in my mind, with a double-layer structure and the core being the blue crystal in the center of the net. The beauty outside the court was anxious. Bo Yu, pass it to Fei, the weakness is." Haoshuan's jade pendant became hot, and a hidden prompt popped up, "The three meridians in the heart of the net converge, break the central meridians." Ling Fei understood, and her inner determination was like fire, intelligence plus courage, this is my highlight. It's not about working alone, it's about working as a team. She shouted low, and the shadow rolled closer, avoiding the claws of the follower's projection. Shirhan sneered, "Hide. Close the net." The light net tightened, and the blue crystal veins emerged. Ling Fei calculated the timing and launched the shadow combo. The palm blade locked the breath first, then the leg wind followed, throwing out the spiritual stone powder phantom to confuse the line of sight. Taking advantage of Shirhan's distraction, she hit the midline with her palm, broken. The blue crystal shattered, the light network collapsed, and the fragments exploded like fireworks. Shirhan's shadow staggered, and her spiritual power came back. She glared. How do you know the 3 meridians? Ling Fei gasped and replied, it's not about knowing, it's about calculation. The bank files taught me, Shirhan, let's work together to break the conspiracy. The high-level officials colluded with the monsters, and their nest is in Area B. The examination room was buzzing, the candidates were talking a lot, and the examiner finally intervened. The simulation is over, Ling Fei wins. Shirhan deducted points. Shirhan bit her lips, and whispered in a low voice before the projection exited, you win this time. But I will follow the lair operation. Elder of the Shady Headquarters, I will also dig. Ling Fei's shadow exited, full of spiritual power. She looked at the map, and the lair clues were locked, sewer area B, guarded by the spiritual stone array, and a group of monster beasts lurking. The total score pops up at the end of the paper, excellent, with a reward of a medium-grade spiritual stone, plus intelligence unlocked, a list of senior bank officials, and the elderly signed the smuggling order. After the exam, Ling Fei walked out of the door, the sun was dazzling, and Yiren rushed to hug her. Fei. You cracked the actual combat part, Haoshuan said that the tips worked. The location of the nest has been determined, the sewers of Area B, and there are small patrols around the monsters. Boyu poked his head out of the car. Well done, the peak of intelligence and courage. You are the core of the team now, and the decision-making depends on you. After saying this, Shirhan approached with 2 followers, with complicated eyes. Ling Fei, I saw the weakness of the talisman formation. Join forces. The senior elder is my uncle, and I have inside information. Ling Fei nodded, trust flowing like spiritual power. Okay, Shirhan. But don't interfere anymore, the team works together. Haoshuan appeared from the side alley, sharing the map on his phone. The entrance to Area B is under the bridge in the old city, and there are 5 monsters patrolling it. The rat demon, the spirit stone formation is invisible. Move quickly, the top management is alert. Yiren's logistics, the spirit stone powder is ready, and Ling Fei and I will lead the way. As the sun set, they sneaked into the old city. The sewer outlet under the bridge was eerie, and the smell of sewage was mixed with sulfur. Ling Fei was in front, using her spiritual shadow palm to explore the path and identify the aura. 3 rat demons on the left, with green eyes disguised as rat nests. She commanded in a low voice, Bo Yu, open the way with the blue light shield. Yiren, seal it with powder. The rat demon sprang out, its claws were like knives, and the smell of green blood was tangy. One of them pounced on Ling Fei. She locked the weak spot on the shoulder blade with a series of shadow strikes, and connected with her palms and legs, crushing the core. Up. The green mist dispersed, and low-level spiritual stones fell out. The battle broke out, the passage was narrow, the rat demons roared, and the Shirhan talisman exploded the smoke. Light net assists, stick to their tails. Boyu chopped off 2 of them, and the blue light flashed. Fei, the center of the formation is in front. Yiren sprinkled powder and stuck to one of the fleeing ones. This spirit stone is marked Huan, a high-level product. Ling Fei's courage surged, and her intelligence was running. The formation's 3 veins were like the talisman net in the examination room. She ducked and approached the invisible wall, and struck with her palm to test. The central vein is at the confluence point of the water pipe. Once it was broken, the spirit stone array collapsed, the passage lit up, exposing the depths of the lair, a mountain of accumulated spirit stones, and the shadow of the demon king swayed. All 5 monsters were wiped out, and the team gained a breath of fresh air. Yiren knelt down to analyze the spirit stones. Fei, this batch of mid-grade goods is worth tens of thousands. Distribution, 20% of Boyu's combat prize, 10% of Shirhan's assistance, and 10% of Haoshuan's intelligence. The 3 of us will share the remainder equally, exchange for coupons, and upgrade the level. She handed Ling Fei a bag. Your share, more. Growth depends on these. Shirhan nodded. Yes, Ling Fei. You are the leader. Deep in the lair, the Demon King is still there, and the core of the high-level conspiracy, Elder Li's Jade token has fallen here. Ling Fei took the Jade token, the password of the headquarters was hidden in the green light, and her heart was filled with thoughts. The dark side turned to the headquarters, and more green eyes were waiting under the city. But there is a team, I am the core, and there is no shortage of courage. The night was getting dark, and the wind from the sewer brought a chill. They withdrew from under the bridge. The lights of Jiangqing were still there, and suspense followed them like a shadow. The night breeze carried the neon smell of Jiangqing, and emerged from the sewer outlet under the bridge. The team filed out, still smelling of green blood. Ling Fei shook the spiritual stone powder on her hand and felt the spiritual energy buzzing in her meridians, as if she had just finished a marathon. Heroine was panting, and the loot in her backpack jingled. She laughed in a low voice, Fei, the harvest this time is not small, at least 10 pieces of medium-grade spiritual stones. When you get home, I will cook spiritual rice soup for you to replenish your energy. Boyu explored the way ahead, the blue light shield was put away, and he nodded. Don't relax yet, the higher-ups are alert. The code inside Elder Li's Jade token points to the subway system, the abandoned branch line in the old city. The coordinates of the lair in the paper were originally Sewer Area B, but the deep passage is connected to the subway, so the monster group may have moved. Shirhan followed at the end, with the talisman still flickering at her fingertips. She glanced at the jade plaque, Uncle Master's things, I recognize them. The subway branch line is under the old bank warehouse, a hub for spiritual stone smuggling. The top management uses it to hide monsters in exchange for bloodline enhancement. Ling Fei, the formation you led is pretty good, but don't be too proud, the exam rewards haven't been given out yet, maybe there's something fishy about it. As soon as she fell, her spiritual voice spread, and several casual cultivators around heard it and whispered, I heard that Ling Fei, a newbie, got high scores all because of cheating. Shirhan, a genius, lost, so fair. Ling Fei frowned and stopped, Shirhan, what are you doing? You yourself saw the talisman formation that I justly broke in the examination room. Spread rumors and destroy the trust of the team. Shirhan shrugged, and a complicated look flashed in his eyes, it's not aimed at you, Fei. The high-level control papers, and the medium-grade spiritual stones as excellent rewards, were originally traps, tracking charms were implanted in them, and the recipients became the targets of monsters. My uncle, Elder Li, was trapped in this way. The rumors are to punish those casual cultivators who follow the trend, so don't join in the fun. Irin came up and gently took Ling Fei's arm, Fei, don't be angry. Shirhan is right, the bank informed I just saw it. The reward collection point is at the CBD branch. If you go at 9 o'clock tonight, it will be invalid. But I have the spirit stone detection note left by my grandfather, which can detect traps. Hao Xuan appeared from the shadows, and the mobile phone map was still on. He whispered, I confirm that the reward spirit stone is a bait from the top. After receiving it, the subway nest will be activated, and we will attack the subway. Ling Fei took a deep breath and thought, rumors are like urban smog, they cannot block the truth. But the leadership team has to stabilize everyone. She nodded, okay, accept the award first. Boyu, take the lead to the branch. Irin, detect the spirit stones. Shirhan, prepare the cover with the talisman. Hao Xuan, update the map at the entrance to the lair, an abandoned subway platform. 10 intermediate rat demons are expected to be the first. Leader. Boyu patted her on the shoulder, Fei, the decision is yours. You are now the core, and the growth has taken effect. The team nodded and sneaked towards the CBD in the night. The high-rise buildings in Jiangqing were like stars, but there was an undercurrent of green eyes below. The branch hall was brightly lit, like a night market bank. The cultivator clerk behind the counter glanced at their badges, Ling Fei? Excellent and high score, rewarded with 5 medium-grade spiritual stones, plus an exchange coupon. Sign to receive. The spiritual stone was handed over, crystal clear, and the spiritual power was so pure that it made people's eyes ache. Iren came closer, scanned it with his notes, and his expression changed. Sure enough, there are weak runes in the core of each spirit stone. After activation, it will locate the recipient and lead directly to the subway lair. The bank's huge reward was originally a bait for the senior management. If a novice receives it, it will become cannon fodder. Monsters will pounce on it, and the spirit stones will return to the black market. Shirhan snorted. Is that what I said? Uncle Master was coerced, and it started with this reward. The whole lineage of Elder Li, the senior executive, fell. Hao Xuan suddenly clenched his fists and said in a low voice, "It's not just Elder Li. I was also coerced. Half a year ago, when I was an intern at the bank, the senior management took advantage of me, my family was in debt, and they threatened me with spiritual stone transaction records. They forced me to pass on false information and lead novices to the lair to die. Boyu, you owe me a favor. I originally wanted to go it alone, but when Ling Fei cracked the paper, I take it all. The leader of the subway lair is the Rat King with fusion of blood. But the higher-ups have backups, and the headquarters is connected to the larger lair." The team was silent, and Boyu patted him on the back. "Brother, hold on, let's work together, and I'll pay back the debt." Ling Fei's eyes were firm, and a warm feeling surged in her heart. The pain of the ally is like the blood of the team, and the connection is tighter. She whispered, "Hao Xuan, thank you for the information. Let's go, subway raid. Boyu will lead the way, and I will lead the tactics. Remember the paper strategy, and lock the breath first when breaking the formation." The entrance to the abandoned branch line of the subway is hidden underground in the old city park. The iron gates are rusty, and there is a faint green mist seeping out from the spiritual power detection. Boyu activated the blue light shield and pried open the gate. The passage is long and narrow, and the rat demons are patrolling intensively. "Fei, tactical assignment." Ling Fei nodded, her voice steady like the rhythm of the city. "Iran logistics, spiritual stone powder to seal the retreat and detect the loot. Shirhan spells assist, and smoke covers the flanks. Hao Xuan's intelligence is real-time, marking the leader's position. Boyu and I are forward, and the shadow combo focuses on the weak point. The nest formation relies on the spiritual stone wall to crack the 3 veins at the platform pillar. The team sneaked in, the sewage flowed on the track, and the smell of sulfur was as strong as hot pot base. Suddenly, green eyes lit up, and 5 mid-level rat demons sprang out from the shadows. Their claws scratched the rails, and their squeaking sounds echoed. "Coming!" Boyu shouted low, sweeping away the 2 with a blue light slash, and green blood splashed on the track. "Fei, left wing." Ling Fei's spiritual shadow palm activated, locking a breath with the palm blade, and followed up with the leg wind, and hit the shoulder blade with the shadow combo. "Up, lock the tail." The beast jumped into the air and hit Shirhan's smoke charm. "Stick." The light net unfolded, sticking to 3 tails, and the lady sprinkled powder. "The powder is mixed, don't let them merge." The battle broke out, the passage trembled, the rat demon's claws struck like rain, and green mist filled the air. Hao Xian shouted from behind, "The leader is at the end of the platform, the spiritual core is red. The high-level talisman array is activated, and the spiritual stones on the wall light up." Ling Fei dodged to avoid a claw, her heart beating like a drum. Leadership is not a one-man battle, it must be borrowed. She loudly said, "Bo Yu, the pillar on top of the shield. Shirhan, the leader of the smoke distraction. Everyone, follow closely, break the formation with intelligence, and hunt with courage." Boyu rushed forward, the blue light shield hit the pillar, the midrib cracked, the spirit stone wall hummed and collapsed, exposing the platform, piled with smuggled spirit stones, with the Rat King entrenched in the center, 2 meters high, staring with blood-red eyes, swinging its tail like a whip. "Human, spirit stone, mine." It rushed, the air wave overturned the track, and its claws went straight for Ling Fei. The team dispersed, and Shirhan's spell flew out, the net of light wraps around the tail. The net stuck, but the Rat King flicked it, and it shattered and disappeared. Iren shouted urgently, Fei, the weakness of the tail vertebra, the fusion habit in the test paper, break the bloodline. Ling Fei's heart was filled with determination. This is the highlight, the team believes in me, and I will take the lead. The shadow combo was running at its best. She rolled on the ground and approached, avoiding the claw wind. Bo Yu, blue light suppression. Hao Xuan, mark the red core. Boyu slashed to block the way of the Rat King, and the blue light flashed. Fei, go. The Rat King roared angrily, and swept his tail whip. Ling Fei locked his breath with his palms, kicked his heels, and stabbed his tail vertebrae with the spirit shadow blade, broken. The red core shattered, green blood spurted out, and the Rat King staggered, his eyes dim. It pounced for the last time, and its claws brushed Ling Fei's arm, leaving bloody marks, but she hit the core with her backhand. Team, together. The Shirhan spell exploded, Ren's eyes were sealed with powder, and Boyu's blue light ended. The Rat King fell to the ground, the Lingshi mountain collapsed, and high-grade crystals fell out. The passage was silent, except for breathing. Ling Fei wiped the blood and stood up straight. I won, the leader level, which proves that the clues in the paper are accurate. Her voice had a new charm, and the bud of leadership flowed naturally like spiritual power. Ren came up and bandaged her arm. Fei, the injury is not serious. The trophies, 3 high-grade spiritual stones and 20 medium-grade spiritual stones. We avoided the trap of bank rewards, but the Jade card code was unlocked, and the high-level headquarters lair is at the end of the main line of the subway. On a larger scale, the Monster King hides the spiritual stone library. Hao Xuan nodded, his eyes deepened. I was threatened. All the pressing records are here. The team, the next stop is the headquarters. Ling Fei held the jade sign tightly, green light reflected on her face, and the roar of the city subway was faintly heard, like bigger green eyes blinking. The aftershocks of the subway tracks were still buzzing under her feet, and the smell of green blood was mixed with rust. Ling Fei let go of the jade plaque and turned to look at the team. The headquarters lair sounds like the underground dragon veins of Jiangcheng. Hao Xuan, are you ready with the internal blueprint? We can't force our way in, we have to outwit them. Her voice was steady, as if she had just walked out of the examination room. The team's eyes were focused on it, and trust was connected like spiritual power. Hao Xuan nodded, took out an encrypted jade slip from his arms, and with a flash of inspiration, he projected a 3-dimensional blueprint, the underground floor of the bank headquarters building, with intricate passages like the alleys in the old city. I got the blueprint from the server last night. The high-rise headquarters is in the core of the CBD. The surface is a skyscraper with a glass curtain wall. The 3 floors of the spiritual stone library below are connected to the monster area. The entrance is a hidden door behind the employee elevator, and the guard is a low-level monster disguised as a security guard. The secret is revealed with a flash of green eyes. After the jade card password is unlocked, there are transaction records in the main control room, which proves that the examination paper is their bait. Ren, can your grandfather's notes be used to crack the transaction code? Ren took the jade slip, smiled softly, and opened the test notes in her backpack. Her fingers moved her spiritual power dexterously and scanned the code runes. No problem, the old-style decoding taught by Grandpa specializes in high-tech spiritual formations such as banks. Give me 5 minutes. She lowered her head to work, the jade slip buzzed, and the green light gradually turned blue. It's done. The password is, Blood Spirit Collection. The top management exchanges the blood of monsters for spiritual stones. After the high scorers receive the prize, the locator is activated, leading the monsters to go straight to the target. The lair question in the paper was originally a deliberately missed clue, so that the novices would fall into the trap and the spiritual stones would return to the black market. Fei, this is a deep shady situation. Elderly is not the only one who controls the situation. Shirhan leaned against the track, circling the talisman on her fingertips. She suddenly spoke, with a rare softness in her voice. Ren is right. My uncle's inside story. Let me add something more. There is a jade scroll in the main control room of the headquarters, recording all the evidence of manipulation of the exam. The senior management uses the paper to screen cannon fodder, and the blood contract is implanted in the spiritual stone of the novice awakener to become a living target for the monsters. The master's uncle he was caught because he discovered the fusion ritual here. The monster swallowed the spirit stone to strengthen, and the bank sold the blood to the black market. Ling Fei, I will join forces with you, but I want to get the evidence. He is still in the headquarters prison. Who is not selfish? The senior management ruined my bloodline, and I have to get it back. Ling Fei glanced at her and thought, Shirhan, this ally, is like a lamp in the fog in Jiangcheng, bright but unstable. But the team cannot do without her. She nodded, okay, evidence sharing. Boyu, what do you think? Boyu wiped off the green blood on the blue light shield and said in a deep voice, the infiltration plan is stable. It is late at night, and there are few people in the CBD. We will enter from the back alley elevator. Fei will take the lead, and I will take the rear. Shirhan's spell covers the key, don't be clever. The team nodded, packed up the loot, distributed high-grade spiritual stones, and each person received a piece of spiritual power. The night wind blew, and the lights of the high-rise buildings in Jiangcheng were like stars. They sneaked out of the park and headed towards the CBD along the neon streets. The CBD night market is still lively, with fireworks from the barbecue stalls blowing in your face, cultivators and mortals mixing together, and no one can see the undercurrent underneath. The bank headquarters building stands like a giant beast, the glass curtain wall reflects the moonlight, and the security guard at the entrance scans the code to let people in. The team pretended to be night shift employees. Haoshuan's fake badge was swiped, and the elevator door opened. On the second underground floor, the hidden door is behind the storage room. The blueprint shows that the monster guard patrols every 10 minutes. The elevator descended, the air became cold, and the spiritual energy was suppressed as if it were stuffed in a can. Ling Fei was in front, her spiritual shadow palm gathering momentum. Everyone, follow closely, and restrain your breath. Iran, have the password ready. Shirhan, have the smoke talisman in place. The hidden door is opened, the light in the passage is dim, and the veins of spiritual stones on the wall glow faintly, like the veins of the city. The main control room is at the end, and the talisman lock on the door flashes. The lady stepped forward and pointed the jade scroll at it, decrypting, open. The door slid open, the server inside buzzed, and the jade scrolls were piled on the shelf. Shirhan rushed in and grabbed a copy. Here. Exam manipulation record. The senior management changed the paper and implanted fake nest coordinates, so that when the novice hunted, the blood array would be triggered, and the spirit stones would flow back automatically. The monsters would be covered, and the bank would get the profits. The uncle's signature was also there, proving that he was framed. Her eyes lit up, and selfishness emerged. This jade scroll can exchange for the freedom of the uncle, and it can also make her jump to the top. Suddenly, a green light flashed outside the passage, and monster guards sprang out, 3 mid-level wolf monsters, disguised as guard dogs, with extended claws and blood-red eyes. Intruders, tear them apart. They rushed at them, and the air wave overturned the shelf. Boyu shouted, shield. The blue light unfolded, blocking the first wave of claw attacks, but when he rushed forward, a wolf demon tail stabbed straight into his shoulder blade, and green poison seeped into it. He fell to the ground with a groan. Damn, seriously injured, spiritual power is blocked. Blood flowed like a gush, and the blue light dimmed. Boyu. Ling Fei's heart tightened, and the team was in chaos. Iran shouted urgently, Fei, the poison is deep, I will bandage it. Shirhan's charm flew out, and the light net stuck to one end. I will block the flanks. But the wolf demon merged with the blood, the net broke open, and the second head rushed towards Haoshuan. Ling Fei stood up, her heart burning with determination. The teacher has fallen, I will lead him. She loudly said, everyone, listen to me. Exam paper strategy. The wolf demon's weakness is the jugular spiritual core. Lock the breath and prevent them from merging. Shirhan, the smoke distracts the left head. Iran, the spiritual stone powder seals the right road. Haoshuan, target the head position. Her voice penetrated the chaos, like a city alarm. The team stabilized. The wolf demon roared, its claws were like swords. Ling Fei's spiritual shadow palm was activated, and the palm blade locked the aura of Zhongtou, shadow combo. She rolled on the ground and approached, the leg wind followed up, and hit the jugular, break the core. Green blood spurted out, and Zhongtou staggered. Shirhan's smoke exploded, captivating the left eye, sticky net. The light net wrapped around its tail, and the lady sprinkled powder mixed blood, don't fuse. The powder was like mist, and the wolf demon's movements slowed down for half a beat. Hao Xuan gasped and marked, the right red nucleus is behind the ear. But Boyu was seriously injured, and the third wolf demon swung its tail and swept over, knocking over the server and scattering the jade scroll. Ling Fei dodged to protect Boyu. The old wound on her arm was split open, and her sleeves were stained with blood. Boyu, hold on. She struck with her backhand, locked the breath on her right head, and the shadow combo was running at the extreme. After the leg blade stabbed, team, go. Taught in the exam, outwit the weak points. With the help of Shirhan's spell, he exploded the distraction, Iran powder sealed his eyes, and the wolf demon blindly pounced in the air. With the last blow, Ling Fei jumped up, and the spiritual shadow blade went straight into the core, broken. The three monster beasts fell to the ground with a crash, the green mist dissipated, and the passage became silent, leaving only panting and blood. Ling Fei knelt down and examined Boyu. Uncle, let me take some poison. She used her spiritual power to draw out the poison, and Boyu smiled weakly. Fei, you have grown up. Don't panic, the leader, this is your true skill. After bandaging, the Iran gathered the jade scroll fragments. The evidence has been saved. The shady story is all there, exam manipulation, monsters cover up, the top management uses novice spiritual stones to nourish the blood. King. The CEO's seal proves that the nest is directly connected to the top floor. Shirhan put away a secret and said with complicated eyes, Ling Fei, please save me this time. I owe you my uncle's life. Hao Xian picked up the blueprint and said, the alarm is ringing. We're here to attack the king's nest at the end of the main line. The team helped Boyu up and sneaked out of the passage, the night wind blowing away the blood. Ling Fei held Kinyu tightly, and green light shone in her eyes. The black curtain was torn apart, but under Jiangcheng, more green eyes were opening. The elevator rises, and the lights of the CBD are closer, like a bigger battlefield waiting. The elevator door dinged open, and the neon lights of the CBD flooded in. The team helped Boyu squeeze out of the back door of the building. The night wind carries the smell of barbecue on the streets of Jiangcheng, faintly overpowering the blood, but the low whistle of the alarm has come from the underground, like the roar of a wild beast. Ling Fei clamped the jade scroll tightly and glanced around. The security booth's green light flashed, and several patrol dogs disguised as low-level monsters were sniffing this way. Evacuate. Back alleys, don't go to the main street. She commanded in a low voice, without any hesitation in her voice, like the decisive question in the exam paper, decisively getting to the point. Iran holds Boyu on one side, Hao Xuan on the other, and Shirhan on the other side, with the charm buzzing on her fingertips. They entered the alley, the neon lights cast long shadows on the wall, and the sound of their footsteps mixed with the honking of cars in the distance. Hao Xuan gasped, took out the invisible jade pendant from his arms, and pressed. The headquarters communication was intercepted, and the evidence known to the top management was lost. Elderly personally ordered a citywide search, saying that we were defected casual cultivators, and were rewarded with 1,000 spiritual stones for catching us alive. His face was pale under the jade light, but he did not panic. I have a way out, the hidden dock on the riverside, where I can borrow fishing boats to get out of the city. Out of the city. The lair is at the end of the main line of the subway, under Jiangcheng. Shirhan suddenly stopped, her eyes flickered, and she quietly squeezed the secret jade scroll in her hand. Ling Fei, do you really want to openly challenge? As soon as the evidence was revealed, the senior management jumped over the wall, and the uncle's life was hanging in the balance. I have to go to the headquarters to talk first and replace him. Her voice was softer, like a Jiangqing food stall in the fog, steaming but with a spicy kick. Ling Fei turned around and stared at her, her heart sank. This woman is selfish again. But the team cannot be separated. She took a deep breath and used her spiritual power to stabilize her mood. Shirhan, the evidence belongs to the team, not your uncle's bargaining chip. The top management manipulated the exam and sold the flesh and blood of novices in exchange for spiritual stones. This shady story has been made public, and the uncle can be saved. Come with me, and now send it to the communication network of the Immortal Cultivator Guild. I'll do it. She took the jade slip from Iran, tapped her spiritual shadow palm, injected spiritual power, and encrypted the content of the remaining jade to upload it. The guild network is an underground forum for immortal cultivators in Jiangcheng. It is as secretive as a WeChat group. As soon as the news was posted, there was an immediate buzz of feedback. Evidence confirmed? Bank President Xue Ling Hui's shady story, with a jade scroll scan. The guild's investigation team takes action immediately. The news was shocking, and Shirhan's face turned pale. You're crazy. This is a public declaration of war. The top management will. Before he could finish his words, a green light exploded at the entrance of the alley, and more than a dozen monster beast guards rushed out. The disguised security guards deformed, and their claws were like sickles. Catch them alive. The president has an order. The leader was a bear demon, as big as a hill, and its roar shook the walls to pieces. The pursuit came, all out, like a heavy rain on a summer night in Jiangcheng, pouring down. Shirhan, are you betrayed? Boyu growled weakly, the blue light shield barely opening, but the poisonous injury made his legs weak. Shirhan took a step back, and the talisman flew out to block a claw, but did not fight back. It's not me. It's my uncle's signature on the jade scroll. They locked the signal. I didn't betray. But her eyes wandered, and the private jade scroll was faintly hot. It turned out that she secretly copied it before transmitting it and sent it to her uncle's old department in an attempt to negotiate privately, but accidentally leaked the location. Ling Fei was furious, but she had no time to dwell on it. Iran, smoke cover. Haoshuan, lead the way to the pier. Shirhan, block the left wing and prove yourself. She shouted, her spiritual shadow palm locked the bear demon's aura, launched the shadow combo, and hit the weak point with the palm blade, the habit of the bear demon in the examination paper. The spiritual core under the neck is the weak point. The team moved, and Iran sprinkled spirit stone powder, and the mixed smoke filled the air like river fog. The powder sticks to the claws, don't let them surround you. Haoshuan opened the invisibility field, and the road in the direction of the fishing boat dimly lit up. This way, 50 meters. The chase was like a tidal wave, the monster claws were blown by the wind, and the street lamps were smashed. Boyu was supported by Iran and managed to shoot out a ray of blue light. Fei, hold on tight. I can't hold on anymore. He fell at the end of the alley, suffering from a severe poisonous attack. Ling Fei was distracted to protect him, and a claw grazed her arm, blood oozing out. Uncle Master. But she gritted her teeth. Team, come on. The wolf demon's tactics are upgraded. The bear demon is afraid of fire spirits. Shirhan, the smoke heats up. Shirhan bit her lip, the spell exploded, the heat mist burned the bear demon's hair, and it roared back in pain. Yi and Haoshuan worked together to drag Boyu, and finally rushed to the dock. The fishing boat was hidden in the fog, and the engine roared low. The moment she boarded the boat, Shirhan suddenly turned around, flashed her talisman, and threw out smoke bombs to block the pursuers. Go to the headquarters to buy time. I admit the evidence, and I will change my uncle's life. She jumped into the fog, her back like the lights in Jiangcheng at night, lighting up and going out. Betray? Or atonement? Ling Fei didn't pursue her, and her heart was complicated. She had grown up, from following to making decisions, but her heart was like a monster with hidden green eyes. The fishing boat left the dock, the river lapped at the shore, and the green lights of the pursuers were scurrying along the shore. Wanted notices from high-level officials have been flying all over the sky, and the guild network is exploding. The bank's shady story is real. The president summons elites to hunt down the defectors. The team leaned against the cabin panting, and Irin hurriedly fed Boyu the spirit stone to detoxify, the blood spirit pill in Grandpa's notebook, paired with the middle grade spirit stone. My uncle can survive the night. Boyu swallowed it, his face turned red. Thank you, 70% of the poison has been removed, and we can move tomorrow. Fei, you saved the team this time, I will listen to you. Hao Xian wiped his sweat and projected the blueprint. The lair is at the end of the subway, where king-level monsters are entrenched. There are low-level beasts on the outside, guarding the supply of spiritual stone veins. We have to investigate, supply first. The boat docked on a hidden tributary, and the team went ashore and turned to the abandoned railway on the outskirts of Jiangcheng. It's late at night, and the moonlight shines on the track like a silver snake entrenched. Ling Fei took the lead and used her spiritual power to identify the aura. There are about a dozen rat demon mutants outside, disguised as wild dogs. The nest defense in the examination paper: they build spiritual silk nets and touch the alarm king level. They have to be outsmarted. She stopped and integrated the exam knowledge. The third question of the paper, the puzzle of the monster's lair. The defense is shadow threads interweave, breaking a vein and completely collapses. An inner flash, from follower to decision maker, this is her battlefield. She turned around and said to the team, the plan is set. Irin, use the spirit stone powder to break the edge of the wire mesh. Haoshuan, mark the rat demon's weakness. After the uncle recovers, blue light will protect our flanks. I will attack with the shadow combo to lock the breath and catch them all in one fell swoop. Supplying the spirit stones is the key, as the higher-ups cut off our retreat and have to grab it. Her voice was as steady as river water, and the team nodded, trusting like the connection of spiritual power. When the investigation began, green shadows swayed beside the railway, and 5 rat demons sprang out, with their tails like webs of spiritual threads pulled open. Invasion, devouring spirits. They rushed towards them, their claws poisonous. Ling Fei yelled, go! Shadow combo. She locked the leader's breath with the blade of her palm, followed up with the wind from her legs, and broke the web. The weakness is at the base of the tail, taught in the exam. Irin's powder spilled out and stuck to the side of the web, breaking pulse, web loose. Hao Xian marked, second head, red core behind the eye. Although Boyu was weak, he slashed out a blue light to protect the lady. I block. The battle is as fast-paced as the streets of Jiangcheng, with the rat demon roaring, the silk screen shattering, and green blood splattering on the ground. Ling Fei rolled up and approached the second one, using her spiritual shadow palm to move at its peak, crush the core with multiple blows. One blow cut off the tail, and the spiritual stone veins were faintly revealed, 10 middle-grade spiritual stones, emitting blue light. She grabbed it and distributed it, 2 pieces for each person to replenish spiritual power. The nest defense puzzle has been solved. The core of the silk mesh is in the king's bloodline, and the outer network is disconnected. The royal family is alert but not collapsed. We have to sneak to the edge and explore the inside. 3 more rat demons sprang out from the darkness and merged with the silk screen to fight back. The team has a tacit understanding. Irin is distracted by smoke, Haoshuan is guided by intelligence, and Boyu's blue light stabilizes the formation. Ling Fei jumped up and took the lead in the attack. Team, joint attack. Paper strategy. The rats are afraid of the spiritual pressure of the group, and the locked aura is completely broken. The palms and legs connected, green blood sprayed, 3 heads fell to the ground, and more spiritual stones rolled out. She gasped and picked it up, determination rising in her heart. From a girl to a leader, this lair will be the starting point of her legend. The peripheral investigation was in depth, and the black hole at the end of the railway was like an animal's mouth, with a faint green light. What secrets are hidden in the lair? The bloodline of a king-level monster or the ultimate shady secret of the bank president? Ling Fei held the spirit stone tightly, and the team followed. The night wind blew, the lights of Jiangcheng were far away, and the bigger green eyes were blinking in the darkness. The black hole at the end of the railway is like the mouth of a giant beast, with green light seeping out from the depths, mixed with a damp musty smell and a faint pulsation of spiritual power. Ling Fei stopped and turned her spiritual power to her eyes, identifying the green eyes, not an illusion, but a low-level variant of the nest guard. The rat demon's eyeballs were disguised as moss, locking the breath in the blink of an eye. She whispered, "Team, sneak into mode. Iran, pave the way with spiritual stone powder and cut off any residue. Haoshuan, project the blueprint to mark the passage. Uncle Master, you are behind the blue light to protect us, don't be too strong." Her words were like a quick step on the streets of Jiangcheng, decisive and not sloppy. From a girl to a leader, at this moment she felt that her spiritual power was as smooth as a river. Boyu nodded and swallowed the last middle-grade spirit stone. Blue light condensed in the palm of his hand. "Don't worry, 80% of the poison has been removed. I can block the tail." Iran took out the spirit stone powder capsule from her waist bag and sprinkled it lightly in front of her. "The powder will stick to the ground spirit threads and is as slippery as river fog when stepped on, so it will not trigger the alarm." Haoshuan activated the jade pendant, and a blueprint emerged. The underground passage was winding like an old subway line, and at the end was a king-level chamber, with spirit stone veins coiled around the summoning array. The outer group of beasts is estimated to be 20, mainly mid-level. The president's communication was intercepted. They feed these beasts with bank spirit stones in exchange for the demon core raw materials of the blood spirit collection. His voice was low, and his face was as solemn as the dark fog at night. They filed in, the black hole swallowing the moonlight, their footsteps echoing in the passage. The air was sticky, the remaining spiritual silk webs on the walls flickered like spider silk, and the green eyes blinked faster. Suddenly, a green light exploded in front, and more than a dozen mid-level wolf demons sprang out. Their fur disguised as stray dogs peeled off, revealing their fangs and the red light of their spiritual cores. Invasion, the soul-devouring stone. The leading wolf king roared, his claws like sickles, and he rushed towards Ling Fei. "Disperse. Iran, use smoke to seal the road. Haoshuan, mark the weak point. Uncle Master, use blue light to suppress the formation." Ling Fei shouted, and her spiritual shadow palm moved to the extreme, locking the Wolf King's aura, the habit in the examination paper. The wolf demon beasts were afraid of being distracted and attacking together. She flashed her claws sideways, used the blade of her palm to wind her legs, and struck the core of her neck with a series of shadow strikes. "The weak point is behind the Adam's apple, cut it off and command." As soon as the blow passed by, green blood spattered, the Wolf King howled in pain, and the beasts were in chaos. Iran reacted quickly, mixed the spirit stone powder into the smoke bomb, and exploded like fireworks in Jiangcheng. "Powder's sticky claws, don't let them surround you." The smoke filled the air, and the wolf demon's claws stuck to the ground, causing several of them to slip and scratch. Behind Boyu's palace, the blue light shield opened to block the 3 attacks from the flanks. "Fei, attack the front, I'll press the tail." His blue light slash struck like a river, cutting off the tail of a wolf demon, shattering the spiritual core, and splattering green blood on the wall. Haoshuan retreated while projecting. The red spots in the eyes of the second head are camouflage nuclei, and the belly of the third head. His intelligence was like a dock light, illuminating the battle situation. The battle is like an underground river storm, with claw wind roaring and green blood splattering everywhere. Ling Fei rolled up and approached the Wolf King, and a flash occurred in her heart. From cracking exams to actual combat, this is her growth. Spiritual power is no longer borrowed, but integrated into her bones and blood. She jumped up and struck a series of shadow attacks. "Team, combined attack." Paper strategy, wolf pack beheaded, pack collapse. The palms and legs intertwined, locking the breath of the 3 heads, shattering the core with one blow. The Wolf King fell to the ground, and the beasts ran around in roars. Iran added some spirit stone powder and sealed the passage. It stuck, the 5 heads can't move. Boyu's blue light swept away, and the back of the palace was as stable as a railroad track. "Good job, the passage is open." They panted forward, and the green light grew stronger in the depths of the passage, and the spirit stone veins glowed faintly, hundreds of medium and high-grade spirit stones, piled like a hill, but entangled by the blood threads of the summoning array. Suddenly, there was an explosion of spells from behind, and the green-eyed beasts surged in again, more. Wang Ling bites. Hao Xuan's face changed. The blueprint shows that the king level is in the inner room. These are cannon fodder. High-level communication, the president personally feeds the spirit stones, and the summoning array uses bank blood. The demon core of Ling Hui manipulates the exam and sells novices as bait for the demon beast. His words were like a bomb, and the suspense was revealed layer by layer. It turned out that the bank's shady story was that the president colluded with the king-level demon beast to trade spiritual stones for the demon core, and the exam paper trap was the feeding chain. Ling Fei's heart tightened, but she didn't stop. It's revealed, it's all for the spiritual stone empire. Team, rush into the inner room and break the formation. She took the lead and opened the way with a combo of shadows, crushing the rat-wolf hybrid that was coming. The heroine distributed the spiritual stones. Each person will take one piece. The top grade will increase spiritual power. Hold on. Boyu protected Hao Xuan with blue light. Boy, the information continues. I will block the pursuers. The battle was stalemate. Her claws brushed Ling Fei's arm. Bloodshot oozed out. She gritted her teeth. It hurts. This is the strength of growth. The inner chamber is in front of you. Green light is like a tide, and 20 beasts are besieging you. A king-level monster is entrenched in the center, a giant python mutant. Its scales shine with the light of spiritual stone, and its tail sweeps like a sickle. Human, spiritual stone is presented. The summoning array hums. Blood threads absorb the spiritual power of mineral veins from the array eyes, and green eyes blink to summon more little monsters. The team was forced into a corner. Boyu's blue light shattered. Can't hold on. Too much. Hao Xuan marked. The formation eye is in the python tail spiritual core. Cut off the blood thread. During the stalemate, the entrance talisman exploded. Shi Han jumped in, and the talisman exploded like the lights of Jiangcheng. Ling Fei. Uncle Master's old department has replied to the letter. The senior officials want to silence me, but I can't hold it back. But the Evidence Guild has picked up the call, and the investigation team will arrive in half an hour. She said the spell flew out, and the light net stuck to the 5 beasts. I was wrong. My selfishness harmed the team. This time I will help. The hot mist burns the python scales. Her voice was spicy with the Jiangqing flavor, and her eyes were firm. From competition to defection, this was her atonement. Ling Fei was stunned for a moment, and felt warm in her heart. The human heart is like a monster, but it can also turn around. She shouted, Shi Han, the left-wing talisman dominates the group. Team, reorganize. Heroine, spiritual stone powder breaks blood threads. Hao Xuan, intelligence locks the king's weakness. Master Uncle, blue light protection eye, I break it. Growth is like a burst of spiritual power. Her command is like a test victory. Shadow combos lock the king's aura. Paper puzzle, the core of the summoning array is intertwined with blood. Cut off the python tail, and everything collapses. The palm blade hit the tail root directly, the green scales shattered, and the blood threads loosened. Shi Han's spell followed, and the heat mist burned the beasts. The road is blocked by the light network. Don't let it summon the little monster. Heroine sprinkled powder, sticking to the bloodshot. The edge is broken, the array is shaking. Boyu's blue light struck, protecting Ling Fei's flanks. Fei, come up. Hao Xuan projected, the red core of the tail vertebra, disguised the spirit stone mine. The king-level python roared, sweeping its tail and smashing the stone wall. While the team was dodging, Ling Fei rolled forward and approached, weakness exposed, shadow combo, core breaking. She used her palms and legs to the extreme, locked her breath, and the red core exploded. The summoning array collapsed, and the green light dispersed like a river of mist. The beasts roared wildly, bloodshot threads broke, and veins of spirit stones rolled down. A huge amount of high-grade spirit stones, totaling 500 pieces, filled the inner room with blue light. Shi Han spelled out the remaining beasts. Win. The formation is broken, and the king level escapes. Boyu gasped and put away the blue light. Fei, you received it, this is a legend. Iren picked up the spirit stones and distributed them, the supplies are enough, the guild is here, the top management can't escape. Haoshuan inspected the remains of the formation, the full picture of the shady story, the president's jade scroll record. He used the exam to sell flesh and blood in exchange for monster cores. The spirit stone bank is the back end of monsters. Hammer of evidence. Ling Fei stood up straight, the blood on her arms was dry, and her spiritual power was as free as the night wind in Jiangcheng. She looked at the team, and her heart filled with satisfaction. From the awakened girl to the leader who destroyed the shady, this growth shines like a spiritual stone. The suspense is resolved, the green eyes no longer blink, the lair is empty, but the guild outside is approaching, and the lights of Jiangcheng will witness the reform. The roar of the king-level python came from the depths, and there was a faint flash of new green light. The team held the spirit stone tightly, and Shirhan whispered, "Next, a duel at the headquarters?" Ling Fei nodded, her eyes as deep as the river, "Let's end this." They turned around, the green light of the underground passage gradually faded, and the road to the surface was lit with hope. The stairs at the end of the passage were like the fire ladder in the old building in Jiangcheng, slippery and steep. The team climbed out step by step, carrying bags of spiritual stones picked up from the lair on their shoulders, which were as heavy as the one Jiang Xian. The green light faded behind him, and the roar of the king-level python turned into a low echo, mixed with the muffled sound of falling rocks. Ling Fei took the lead. The remaining energy of the spiritual shadow palm was still buzzing in her palm. She turned to Shirhan and said, "Your spell heat mist burned in time. If you hadn't held back the beasts, we would have been sucked dry by the summoning array." Shirhan gasped, the light network on the jade pendant was still flickering. She wiped the sweat from her forehead, and the girl from Jiangcheng became more straightforward. "Stop talking nonsense, I owe it to the team. This time I don't have any selfish intentions. The senior people think that Lingshi Bank is them. Back garden. The guild investigation team is about to arrive, and my uncle's old team is already blocking people at the entrance of the headquarters." Her eyes no longer showed the fierce competition during the exam, but a hint of atonement. This change from careerist to partner made Ling Fei feel relieved. Behind the Haoshuan Palace, the projected blueprint was put away, and he whispered, "I encrypted the evidence of the Jade Scroll and uploaded it. All the president's transaction records are in it, using examination papers to sell the blood and flesh of novices in exchange for demon cores, and feeding all the spirit stone veins to king-level pythons. Once the guild investigates, he can't escape." Iren supported Bo Yu, the bag of spiritual stone powder was half empty, and she whispered, "Uncle Master, your blue light shield is as stable as a river embankment. Most of these spiritual stones on the ground are high grade, which is enough for us to share." I remember the reward list. The huge amount of spiritual stones that the bank was supposed to issue has now become our trophy. Boyle coughed. Although 80% of the poisonous wound was removed, the blue light had not fully recovered. He patted the girl on the shoulder, "Girl, hold on steady. Fei, you led this trip, from awakening to breaking the nest, my uncle saw it. You are not only the girl's family, you are simply the backbone of Jiangcheng's cultivators." His words were like the lights of the old dock, warm and reliable. As soon as they stepped onto the ground, the night wind of Jiangcheng blew into their faces with the smell of neon. The lights in the back alley of Lingshi Bank were dim, and the guild's spiritual power car lights in the distance were approaching like shooting stars. But before he could take a breath, a black shadow came out of the side door of the bank. The president's trusted bodyguards, a dozen mid-level immortal cultivators, the talisman array had been opened, and the red light was like blood under the net. "Intruder. President's order. Kill the evidence of the lair." The leading man roared, and the claw wind carried the fishy smell of monsters. It turned out that the higher-ups had counterattacked. They used the spiritual stone array hidden in the bank to summon the remaining monsters to block the road. Ling Fei's eyes flashed, and her heart flashed. Growing up is not just about breaking through the demon nest, but you also have to fight against the dark side of people's hearts. She yelled, "Team, defensive circle. Shirhan, reverse the seal of the talisman light net, Haoshuan, project their weaknesses. Heroine, mix the spiritual stone powder with the smoke to break the back. Uncle Master, press the blue light in the middle. I am the main attack, the evidence cannot be lost. Her voice was like a river bursting its embankment, with the aura of a leader in her decisiveness. The girl who cracked the paper in the past is now commanding like an arm. The battle broke out, the red net came over, and 3 remaining rat monsters sprang out, green eyes blinking and rushing towards the spirit stone bag. Shirhan reacted quickly and the talisman flew out. The hot mist will burn the net, don't let them get close. The hot mist was as hot as Jiangqing pepper soup, burning the edges of the red net and sticking to the claws of the 2 rat demons. Haoshuan activated the jade pendant, the leader of the guard, the spiritual core disguised as a badge under the abdomen. The second one, the red dots in the eye sockets, are demon blood implants. His information was like a navigation at night, accurately illuminated. Irin sprinkled the last spiritual stone powder, mixed it with the smoke bomb and exploded. Powder's sticky talisman formation, slip on their feet. Smoke filled the alley, and the guards stepped on it and slipped a few, and curses spread. Damn, this girl's methods are like a street thief. Boyu opened his blue light to protect the middle of the team. Fei, step forward. The old man blocks the flank. His blue light slash cut off the tail of a rat demon, green blood splashed on the wall, and the poisonous gas forced the 2 guards back. Ling Fei jumped up and locked the leading strong man's breath with a shadow combo. The trap in the paper high-level guards are mostly strengthened with demon blood, and their weak points are at the intersection of blood. The palm blade hit the abdomen directly, shattering the camouflage badge. The strong man fell to the ground howling in pain, and the red net collapsed. The team attacked together. Shirhan's light network sealed the back row, Irin's smoke distracted them, Boyu's blue light suppressed the formation, and Haoshuan's intelligence guided them, and the remaining monsters and guards were quickly suppressed. Green blood and red light intertwined in the alley, and the battle was as fierce as a night battle in Jiangqing, but the logic was strict, every step was based on evidence and tactics, and there was no luck. The guild investigation team finally arrived, the spiritual vehicle stopped, and a dozen senior immortal cultivators got out of the car. The leader glanced at the jade scroll projection. The evidence is irrefutable. Where is the president? Hao Xian gasped. Internally, he is burning documents. But we have backups, and the high-level shady story has been exposed, trading spiritual stones to feed monsters, and selling human lives in exams. The elder nodded. Okay, blockade the bank. Ling Fei, if your team has made meritorious service, the reward will be doubled, and thousands of high-grade spiritual stones will be recorded in the guild's file. The high-level counterattack did not stop. The bank hall was brightly lit, and the president's voice rang out from the radio. The invasion is a rumor. Let me explain to the guild. Lingshi Bank is the pillar of cultivating immortals. But Ling Fei did not give him a chance. She led the team into the hall and used the evidence jade scroll to project the audience. President, your jade scroll is recorded here. The demon, the nuclear deal, the nest summoning, and the exam trap are all shady. We broke the king-level python and rescued the spirit stone veins, and the guild is the proof. The projection was like a large-screen advertisement in Jiangqing, clearly exposing the details of the transaction. Some people in the hall whispered, "Oh my God, the exam paper turned out to be bait." Shirhan stood up, her charmed jade pendant lit up. Shirhan used to be close to the president and mistakenly believed in selfish motives. But now, I stand with the team. Reform Lingshi Bank, starting from transparent transactions, examination papers are publicly reviewed, and monster intelligence is shared. Her words were filled with the heat of a Jiangqing girl, winning applause from the hall. Hao Xian added, as an insider, I have a server backup. The senior management has coerced me for many years, and it ends today. Join the reform, the spirit stone rewards will be divided equally, and I will no longer feed the monsters. The president's face was livid, and he rushed out of the office, followed by the final trap, a hidden talisman array paper. The red light exploded and covered Ling Fei like a blood net. Little girl, you are destroying my empire. This is the last blood spirit array, sucking your spiritual power. The green eyes in the array flashed, and the aura of the remaining king-level python was faintly transmitted. It turned out that he had hidden a backhand and was trying to backfire on the team. Ling Fei's heart tightened, but the confidence of growth surged up. From cracking the first paper to leading the leader to break the nest, this trap was just an old routine. She whispered, "Team, the familiar smell." Shirhan, the hot mist burns the formation. Haoshuan, marks the core. Heroine, the spiritual stone powder cuts off the blood vessels. Uncle Master, the blue light protects me. I will crack it. The inner monologue was brief. This is the trial of the pillars, Jiangqing Xiuxian, waiting for my reform. She moved the spirit shadow palm and locked the aura of the formation eye. The core of the scroll trap was the intertwining of blood and spirit stones, and its weakness was the CEO's demon blood mark. Yinglian high-fived his legs and approached the CEO. Your shady story has dissipated like Jiang Wu. The weak point is your bracelet, which cuts off the demon blood. One blow shattered the ring, the blood threads loosened, and the red light burst. Shirhan hot mist followed up, burn it clean, don't leave any tails. Iran sprinkled powder to stick to the edges, the array is shaking, the spirit stone veins are backlashing. Boyu's blue light impact, Fei, finish it. Haoshuan projection, the core is broken, the green eyes are destroyed. The formation collapsed and the president fell to the ground. The guild elder stepped forward to shackle him. The evidence of the crime is conclusive. Lingshi Bank will be handed over to the guild. The hall cheered, and the immortal cultivators gathered around to discuss the details of the reform. Ling Fei stood up straight, her spiritual power was as free as the night wind. She looked at the team. We not only hunt monsters, but also changed the rules. Iran, Uncle Master, you go and clean up the remnants. There are still traces of little monsters under the bank. Shirhan, Haoshuan, follow me to propose a reform proposal. The spirit stone reward will be used to build a new examination center. It is transparent and fair. Iran and Boyu nodded and turned to deal with the follow-up. Iran whispered, Fei, you have changed, you have become a big sister. My uncle and I are in peace, and the spirit stone powder is enough. Boyu smiled, go, girls. Jiangqing will be a prosperous person from now on. Shirhan clenched his fist, propose my spell to assist and publicize the whole city. Hao Xian added, I will build an intelligence network to prevent the shady conspiracy from resurrecting. Ling Fei led the way to the conference room, with evidence and spiritual stones in hand, and the reform movement surged like a river. The top management has fallen, and the green eyes of the remaining monsters will be extinguished forever. Under the lights of Jiangqing, she has become a pillar, and the story has entered a new chapter. But in the distance, the guild elder whispered, the last one, the president's secret ally. Ling Fei's eyes were firm, ready to face it. As soon as the conference room door opened, Jiangqing's night breeze rushed in with the coolness of neon. The light inside was as bright as an examination room spotlight, illuminating the CEO's secret ally, an old guy wearing the robe of a bank executive, with wrinkles on his face as deep as the cracks of the river embankment. Surrounded by him was a half-human monster with loose gray fur and eyes as green as the light deep in the lair. This guy is no ordinary guard, he is the president's monster ally. He has been hiding underground in the bank for a long time, disguised as a steward, and specializes in devouring the residue of the spirit stone veins to become stronger. The words of the guild elder were still echoing in her ears, the last one, the president's secret ally. Ling Fei's heart sank, but she did not retreat, her eyes locked on the green eyes. Old guy, you hit it deep enough. The president has fallen, and you still want to support the shady story? The old guy chuckled, his voice hoarse like an old fisherman on the riverside. Little girl, Lingshi Bank is mine and the president's plate. Monster allies? Ha, this is the true way of cultivating immortals, the strong eats the weak. Your team broke the nest and destroyed the summoning array, but I, the Grey Wolf King, have already sucked the essence of the mineral veins and swallowed your evidence in one gulp. With a wave of his hand, the Grey Wolf King lunged out with a low roar. The claw wind brought the spiritual stone fragments and smashed them against the conference table. The sawdust flew everywhere, and a green light appeared under the net, trying to absorb the spiritual energy of the team. There were still discussions outside the hall, and the guild investigation team blocked the door, but this decisive battle had to be fought by oneself. Ling Fei shouted, "Team, decisive battle at the headquarters. Shirhan, use the light net to seal the wolf's body. Haoshuan, project the weakness. Heroine, use the spiritual stone powder to stick to the claws. Uncle Master, use the blue light to suppress the flanks. I will attack mainly and cut off its vein core." Her voice was as steady as river water, and her growing self-confidence made every word sound like an order. The girl who used to crack the paper now commanded flawlessly. It flashed in my heart, this is the final blow of the shady scene, justice waits for no one. The Grey Wolf King's claws swept forward, the green light clung to the air, and the suction force pulled the spirit stone bag. Shirhan reacted quickly, and the charmed jade pendant lit up. "The hot mist will burn the net and stick to your green eyes." She threw out the charm, and the hot mist was like the spicy soup in the mist of Jiangcheng. It was hot and wrapped around the wolf's body, burning the gray fur to black, and the edges of the green light cracked. The old guy's face changed. "Shirhan, you traitor. In the past, you relied on my talisman formation for prompts in the exam." Shirhan gritted her teeth, and the Jiangcheng girl's stubbornness came up. "Old man, prompts? That is a life-saving bait. Today I will atone for my sins and burn all your dirty deals." Her heat mist not only burned the net, but also seeped into the slits of the Wolf King's hair, forcing it to retreat. The heat of the atonement boosted the morale of the team. Haoshuan activated the projection jade pendant, and the blue light swept across the wolf's body. Weakness of the ally, the core of the mineral vein is a gray spot under the abdomen. The residue of the spirit stone fed by the CEO will explode when overloaded. Old guy, there is a demon blood mark under your robe, which cuts off its supply. The information was like a river lantern at night, accurately lit. The Grey Wolf King roared and rushed towards Haoshuan. His claws brushed his shoulders and tore his sleeves, but he did not panic. "Team, the core point is locked. The black curtain is over, I am free." Boyu's blue light opened, protecting Haoshuan's flanks. "Little boy, stand still." The old man blocked this claw. The blue light cut off the wolf's tail, and the poisonous gas forced the old man to take a step back. He cursed, "Bo you old stubborn, you still got a share of the spiritual stone trade in the past." Boyu coughed. Although the poisonous wound had healed, the blue light was as steady as a river embankment. "Soup? That's poisonous soup. Fei, come forward, Uncle Master is holding the battle." Irin sprinkled spirit stone powder from behind and mixed it with smoke bombs. The powder sticks to the claw road and cuts off the suction of your mineral veins. Smoke filled the conference room, and the Grey Wolf King slipped when he stepped on it. His claws got stuck in the powder layer, and the suction of the green light was half weakened. She whispered to Ling Fei, "Fei, economic stability depends on us. I have divided these high-grade spiritual stones, half to repair the bank veins, and half to reward the team. The shady situation is over, and the spiritual stone transfer is fair." Her gentleness was like a roommate's night talk, and her support made Ling Fei feel warm. Ling Fei jumped up, her spiritual shadow palm moved, and her shadow combo locked the Grey Wolf King's breath. "The smell of the paper trap is coming again. The weak point in the belly, the core of the mineral vein is shattered." The palm blade hit the gray spot directly, green blood exploded, and the Wolf King retreated with a howl in pain. But the old guy threw out the last talisman formation, and the red light assisted the wolf's body. "Little girl, swallow her." The green claw rushed towards Ling Fei and almost caught Ling Fei's shoulder. At the critical moment, Shirhan rushed forward. "I'll do this blow." The hot mist of atonement hits the core. She fully activated the spell, and the hot mist shot into her belly like an arrow, burning up the core of the mineral vein. The Grey Wolf King's green eyes flashed, and he fell to the ground. Green blood flowed all over the ground and turned into black smoke. The old guy's eyes widened. "It's impossible. Shirhan, you." He tried to escape, but was locked by Boyu's blue light. The guild elder rushed into the shackles. we've caught them all, there is irrefutable evidence of the shady case. Cheers erupted in the hall, and the immortal cultivators gathered around. Discussions surged like rivers, the hidden headquarters of the monster allies? Fortunately, Ling Fei's team. Ling Fei gasped and stood firm, looking at the team. We won. The high-level monster allies are destroyed, and all the evidence is in hand. Now, announce the conspiracy. She turned to the guild elders and everyone in the hall, and opened the projection scroll. Everyone. The shady story of Lingshi Bank. The president used exam papers to lure novices, traded monster cores to feed king-level pythons, the mines were destroyed, and the allies fell. From now on, the bank will reform, exams will be fair, papers will be reviewed publicly, monster information will be shared, and there will be no more shady stories. The elder nodded and said in a loud voice, Ling Fei, your team has made great contributions. The guild supports the reform, and the bank is transformed into a justice institution, the spirit stone economy is stable, and the world of immortal cultivation is reborn. Iren stepped forward and distributed the spirit stone bags. I am responsible for the economic part. According to Grandpa's notes, the exchange of spirit stones should be fair. Now, the mineral veins are repaired and the reward spirit stones are used to build a new one. Center, to prevent monsters from infiltrating. She smiled softly and winked at Ling Fei. Fei, you took it, we will follow. Boyu, the intelligence network is established, witness this moment. Jiangqing's cultivation from darkness to light depends on the team. The coercion is over, I am free. The reform is successful, the bank is my home. Shirhan clenched his fist, the proposal and spell promotion spread throughout the city. The exam is no longer a trap, but a ladder for growth. There was thunderous applause in the hall, and someone shouted, Ling Fei, the legend. The guild awarded the ultimate spiritual stone award, a fist-sized high-grade spiritual stone. Spiritual power surged like a river. Ling Fei took it, the spiritual shadow palm in her body buzzed and advanced, she felt the power was as free as the night wind. This reward is not just a stone, it is the fruit of justice. She became the legend of urban immortal cultivation, the pillar of the story under the lights of the river city. Late at night, after the team dispersed, Ling Fei and Yiren walked in the alley outside the bank, and the river breeze blew away the neon smell. Yiren held her arm. Fei, from the day you awakened, cracked the first paper, to the leader who destroyed the nest, destroyed allies, and promoted reforms, you have changed, from a city girl to a leader of cultivators. Courage, friendship, and justice have all won. Ling Fei smiled, and the warmth of the soul stone in her palm melted into her spiritual power. Yes, Yiren. Remember when we were roommates, talking about monsters and beasts was like telling ghost stories? Now, we have destroyed them with our own hands. The bank is clear, the exam is fair, and the spiritual stones are flowing like rivers. In the future, we will guard the world of immortality in Jiangqing, novices will no longer be like us. Yiren nodded, her eyes as bright as stars. Yes, together. Friendship will last forever, and justice will never die. They walked into the night side by side, with the lights of the river city reflecting their figures. The trajectory of their growth was like a long stream, everything was perfect, and they had no worries or regrets.